we're no longer under that same sort of old world tyranny.
Um,
I'm that's I mean that's how I see it, right? Like, because if I keep looking at the circumstances that were happening in Africa at the time, and then I'm being so harsh on the new conditions that were created by like the United Nations and all that kind of shit. Like, which one am I saying is more like of what I would call the ideal situation? Because neither one of them are ideal, but which one would I say is more ideal?
Logic. Why do you have to pinpoint it on one thing?
No, I'm using two things. I'm comparing what happened with what British did, and I'm comparing it to what was still happening on the African continent. And I'm calling what the British did progress compared to what was happening in Africa. Just not ideal.
So you're gonna ignore the wars that was happening on Africa during that time?
What you
Like
mean? You
you
talking about you talking about the Berlin Conference War?
no, like you are you gonna ignore the Berlin Conference came in 1880,
Yeah,
1870s,
okay,
but
but
that's
in the
later.
early 1800s, when Britain was moving to abolish slavery and they was transitioning from their economic systems from slavery dependency to more capitalism, you're going to ignore the fact that even in Africa, there was still wars and conflicts happening with those Africans fighting against the colonized and inclusion of the Europeans. Are you going to ignore that there was no resistance? That's
I'm not
historically
ignoring
documented.
it. I'm not ignoring it.
They
I'm just
wasn't
simply
opposed to
saying,
slavery though, as an
right. It
institution.
didn't. Yeah, it
That's the
didn't lead
issue.
to that. Yes, it did not lead to that.
So you don't think
People in that, my
uprisings?
people on the continent at that time was voiceless because they didn't have nobody there documenting what they were doing. And I
and
hate
also
running into that
Mujasi.
dark history.
No, I know, but Mujasi, I just want you to understand something in these conversations so you can keep your sanity. Um, just understand. You gotta also understand when a person is willing to die on an argument, bro. You
Yeah.
can't you can't be willing to just go get into. You can't get into a shootout. It ain't even intelligent to get in a shootout with somebody that's willing to die.
Don't frame it
You
like
can.
that,
Yeah.
bro.
No, I'm talking to. No,
Don't
no, I ain't talking
discourage.
about you,
Don't
logic,
I know,
logic.
but
I ain't
don't
talking about you.
discourage
I'm
this
not talking about you.
discourse at all. This is too good, bro.
No. It is great discourse, but you're trying to get us to accept your point without listening to ours. There's another piece in the Berlin Conference. Like, at least somehow, at least take a second and look at what he mean by the Berlin Conference. Africa wasn't invited to the Berlin Conference. So whatever wars, whatever happened after that, to put that solely on the responsibility of African people as to what they did or didn't stop, with no written real at the time, I guess. Then what you're determining is remember when they split Africa up, they did this irregardless of the people that was there. So if you just split people up, I mean, I hate to say it's the first redlining. If when you split tribes up, warring tribes up, and then put them in the same place, or then you split certain people up and split them completely up in the Berlin Conference, and then you just sit back and watch. Imagine if they did that right now. Imagine if they just split up Compton and did that. Just forget and didn't invite nobody from Compton. Didn't ask them what beefs was going on, what trial, whatever was going on. And they just split it up. You'd have anarchy, and then the stuff that happened after would be blamed on them for getting the Berlin Conference.
Okay,
There's reasons
so
like that, and that's a structure. That's not white people. That's
Don't
power
even
structure.
follow him down that road, logic. Slavery was already abolished in the West
that's what I'm
by the time of the
and,
Berlin Conference. It don't even make sense.
and by the time white people get there, they join in something that's already happening.
Okay. The slavery that was abolished in the West, what was it, Logic?
You talking about? Are you trying to make a difference
No,
between chattel
I'm not
slavery
trying to
and
make
other slavery
anything.
now?
Chef just told you the chef just told you that don't listen because slavery was already abolished in the West. What slavery though? What slavery was it that was abolished in the West?
Transatlantic slavery? No, it can't be, right?
Yes.
I thought that
Yes,
was later.
logic.
Okay.
Who abolished the
The,
transatlantic
the,
slave trade?
the Berlin Conference was
Logic.
in and like 1890 or something.
72. No, it's like 1872,
Okay, so
1876, something like that.
Mujasi,
Yeah.
who abolished the transatlantic slave trade?
Slavery was already over.
No. Who?
White people had
Who?
already stomped it out.
America stopped participating in the transatlantic slave trade, I think in what, 1804, 1805. I
Okay.
think Britain removed themselves from it, or was it in 1807 or something like that?
Yeah, 1807.
They
Mhm.
passed, but Britain did pass the Abolition of the Slave Trade Act in 1807,
Right.
which made it illegal. So they were one of the
Yeah.
first ones, even though they withdraw
The
themselves from it.
largest.
They were one
Stay
of the
right there,
first.
Mel. Stay right there, Mel. Who was the largest
That's what I add though.
member of the
There's two
transatlantic slave
countries.
trade when it was popping? Wasn't that
America.
also?
Hey, but there's a few other countries who also abolished it before the 1800s, like Denmark, France, and
Mhm.
they did it like in the late 1790s.
Yeah, but France brought it back with Napoleon.
Yeah, they reinstated it, but I'm just making a point.
Yeah, no. But when we're saying
Napoleon
that it
was out of his
abolished,
mind too. Don't forget to tell the people that.
no, I'm not telling the people nothing. They gotta know something. If you don't know
Talking about in his later years.
Napoleon is. I mean, they knew he was crazy. I mean, that's not. What is it? A Napoleon complex. If you don't know Napoleon was crazy, they named complexes after this.
Some tapes.
So chef, these they abolish, they quote unquote abolish slavery, right? They talking about those in power, not
The white
not
people. The white people.
no,
Let's
no,
get down to it.
the
Nigga troublemaker.
the individuals in governmental power, not Joe Schmo that fucking plants potatoes and pushes donkeys around the town. I'm talking about the king and the fucking just all them guys, right? Now, for me, I can't give them no credit because they still had colonies. They still had colonies globally.
Didn't say they ended oppression, yo. Oppression's been out, like has been a part of of the human experience since forever. Didn't
So
say they ended oppression.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand, Cuban. Like when they made this decree that it was illegal to engage in the slave trade through the empire, the first thing they did was enlist the Royal Navy to intercept all ships to enforce the ban.
why?
And then don't forget that the real push behind this act was those abolitionists like Wilberforce, like Equiano, like Thomas Clarkson. They actually are the ones who helped promote it. So it didn't reach a turning point until they got involved, but Britain did enforce it.
So why?
Britain enforced what?
What would be your answer to? Okay, well,
The
Britain.
Abolition of Slave Trade Act of 1807.
Okay, they back out of selling Africans into slavery, right? They do that because why? Because it's immoral,
No,
or
it was
was it
finance. It
because,
was finance.
or
It
it was,
was
or,
strategic. It
okay,
was strategic.
Remember the owl noise,
I agree,
Brad.
Brad, I
It's
agree,
why.
but I agree
No,
with
it
you.
was
And why?
strategic. No,
It
but
was
clearly, listen
it,
to me. But Cuban, stay right there.
uh
Free paid wages
huh,
in industries was
uh huh.
cheaper than slavery. So
Ah,
they didn't end it because they you can't paint them as some kind of liberator because they
huh.
didn't do it because they wanted to. They did it because remember that's the rebellion in Haiti. No, Jamaica. The Democrat there was a rebellion in Haiti where they lost so much money, so many soldiers that
Didn't I
they
say that? I
realized
said
it
that
makes
earlier.
no
I'm not
They
saying
sense.
that.
did.
I
It
They
said
makes
did.
this
no
earlier.
sense to now have slaves. You can't.
Uh
It
huh.
doesn't. You can't possibly.
Uh huh.
We can pay the wages. This is industrialization era. So now,
Right,
we're
right.
talking. We're talking.
Said
Now
that
you're
too.
talking about.
You
It
wanna-
makes way more money. It's way cheaper to just pay these pay motherfuckers cheap
Uh
labor
huh.
or free labor in the factories. than to try to control these sugar plantations.
Uh-huh.
So then they stop.
Yeah.
But once again,
I
when y'all keep saying they abolish slavery, hold on, let me say this last.
I want to add on to what Brass
fine.
is saying.
That's the point I was getting at, because I had said
Hold
that
on,
earlier.
keeping this. There's
before.
more to that. There's more
Go
to
ahead.
that. I want to.
Wait, hold on. That's before Brass came in earlier. I said the same thing. I was like, could
Same
it be that it was the Haitian Revolution?
Yes.
Because
Mhm.
okay, now they do this over their loss of money, their capital. They didn't do it because they care. A liberator liberates because they care. They don't do it and say, well, you know what, I'm gonna liberate you guys because if I liberate you, I'm gonna have some, more livestock and this. A liberator liberates because they care about the people, they care about humanity, they care about injustice. So
So
that's why
I want to.
they're not liberators. They're masturbators.
So that's why you got to give
They
the
are.
credence to the abolitionists. The abolitionists are the ones that were activists. They had activist groups, Granville Sharp,
No.
some
But
of
I
the
know that.
Quakers.
No, but what I'm talking
And we
about
talked all about all of that too.
we're talking about
Yeah.
towards. I'm talking about towards like the government,
I
not
understand. I understand,
yeah.
but that's why yeah, the government doesn't
But
care, and I want to
that's
add.
that's
I
what
was gonna
I'm.
s-
My aim is towards the gut. Like my aim is towards when he's saying that Europeans liberated. They passed this law and they did this. That not the politicians, the everyday person. Yeah, I'm sure that there was people that really cared from the bottom of their heart. I'm sure that there were, but them politicians and shit, they didn't give a shit, because that's what I'm saying. Like you stopped engaging in slavery, but yet you still had colonies because you still need to make some little revenue. You still need to make some money. You still need an expansionism. They foresaw that if we stayed here and we went here and we went there, we're going to get A, B, and C. We're going to gain. They didn't. That's what I'm saying. They're not liberators. They're just not liberators, man. John Brown, that's a motherfucking liberator. That's a liberator. The guy with the Amish beard that goes to the Quaker church, that was building schools and help you. That's a liberator, but not the king. And they're not liberators.
And
I think.
earlier,
right. It's
Let
I
Mel
was gonna
add
say,
his
earlier,
two
Cuban,
cents.
earlier we juxtaposed John Brown against William Lloyd Garrison, and to your dichotomy, John Brown will be a liberator. William Lloyd Garrison will be, to some degree, a considerator. Invent a
Uh,
term real quick,
uh,
because, like I said, he was a radical abolitionist, one of the best proliferated arguers against the slavery system at that time compared to anybody. But he still held true that there was a inherent unequal reality to the Negro and the white. And so, like, how do you find complete? And that's why I go back to my question to my brother Chef. How do you reconcile that? Like, and so everything that y'all Fairmont Brass that y'all have talked about, is recycling. It's a good thing because we're bringing again full circle. Y'all are saying the same thing that me and Cuban was saying earlier in the conversation. It's difficult to just try to land on this moral aptitude of British Empire without considering all the forces, um, politically, economically, that they were contending up against in order for them to do what they do. We're saying the same arguments again 45 minutes later with more people saying the same thing. And yet, like I said in the post, my brother Chef is still trying to climb Mount Kilimanjaro at some
Because he's
Crocs.
willing to die. That's the like I don't mind having discourse, but at some point, if I'm not accepting your point, you're not accepting mine, then you're just wanting to die. There's not a, and if every point I bring up, I kind of knew that it was a white person thing. I kind of knew that that's where this was going. That, well, are we the same as saying inherent? But I hate to bring up the evolution of it. Human beings are 99.9% the same, correct? So if we're all essentially the same, nobody is inherently anything. But dominant power structure systems and institutions make things happen. And y'all trying to tell me that people writing letters, People write letters to these institutions, structures, and systems all the time. Abolition could be a cog in the wheel. Abolitions could be a kindling or a branch in a fire. But that ain't. It's not gonna be the thing that gets rid of it. It's just not. It's not gonna be the thing that gets rid of it.
So are
He's
you?
gonna
Or so you're saying that your problem with it is that Chef is describing it as morality being the lead driving force. Is that what you're having a problem with?
I will
no.
say that, yes.
Yeah.
I will say
Well,
that, yes.
I wasn't here earlier for the conversation. My issue with the conversation will never change, Logic. It's not gonna. You're gonna have a very difficult time, trying to have me see the person who oppressed and enslaved as the person that did the liberation. Because even when y'all talk about the Brits, right? Are you familiar with with the British apprenticeship system around the time?
No.
Okay. Around that time, and the funny thing is, we all keep saying we all keep leaving. We all keep leaving these certain things out. So when they did abolish the slavery and start removing these ships, and start uh uh they use their navy per se to go out and take slaves from these 1600 ships. So I'm gonna describe to you when they took the slaves off the ships. They didn't take them back to their homeland. They didn't give them back to their people. They joined what the British had was called an apprenticeship system. The apprenticeship system looked like this. Now I looked it up so I can get a technical form. Right. I want to be clear. The formerly enslaved Africans were legally bound to work for their former enslavers for 4 to 6 years. Field workers for 6, house workers for 4. They were unpaid. Instead, they were supposed to get training for freedom. But in reality, they just continued doing the same labor. They were required to work 45 hours a week for free. If they wanted wages, they had to work beyond the 45 hours. Punishments still continued. Whipping, imprisonment, and forced labor still existed for misconduct. Now, the master still controlled their time, labor, mobility. Freedom was delayed and conditional. It was slavery under another name. Apprenticeship ended early in 1838 because of protest resistance by the apprentices themselves, not because Britain suddenly grew more humane. Now, if you trying to, in every particular case where we have these conversations, if you're trying to tell me that they went out into the ocean and knocked off 1,600 ships and freed those slaves, and that was Britain trying to stamp out slavery. But then they took those same damn slaves, bro, and put them into this system, their system. When did they abolish slavery? If oppression never leaves, it just shows up as something else. So
Okay,
they just
so
called it apprenticeship. So what
right.
credit are y'all? Y'all keep telling me what was already abolished in the West.
I dropped
Okay,
the
so then
source.
they called it apprenticeship.
I
Well,
dropped the source.
you
Appreciate
you
that.
don't you the only reason why we value sunny days is because we have rainy days, right? So like there has to like to me there's a comparison necessary to even see how valuable that or not or an event is, right? I keep saying, so what were the Africans doing? Right, a little progress that is compared to where we could be today, or or where we could be today, exactly, right? Versus what was actually happening and what those people were attempting to to retain. Like to me,
What's your
there's almost
actual
no
question? What's
comparison.
your
I'm not
actual
saying
question?
that what the British did was perfect. I'm not okay. Yeah, so I'm comparing it to what they were doing in Africa, and compared to Africa, as horrible as it sounds, it's still an upgrade. It's still progress towards human rights. As crazy as that sounds, I would
wait,
still
wait,
consider it
wait, wait.
progress.
It sounds so crazy. I want you to say it again.
It would
Can
have
I
to be
just
progress compared to what they were doing in Africa. It would have to be progress. So
okay?
that's why I'm saying that I gotta compare it to something to know like what bad is. I need to know. I need to have an example of bad, right? So if this is what's bad, and at one point in time they both doing it, well, one group decided to stop doing it, and then tell the other group to also stop doing it. So we're concentrating on their motivation on why they stopped. Well, I'm just simply acknowledging that they stopped. Now we can
Mm.
go on to say they also implemented this and it wasn't good, but they stopped doing something.
You know what it sounds like you saying, Logic? That if I was to lay
What
you on your side and kick you in your stomach with a steel toe boot for 100 years, when I stopped, you want me to think that that's progress, and you would say thank you. But
I'm
if in
saying,
another place
if what,
somebody's
let
kicking
me tell
somebody
you,
in the leg and never stops, you'll say what I'm did was progress because I stopped kicking you in your stomach. And you'll look over there and say, why are you still kicking that guy in the leg? This guy stopped kicking me in my stomach. I don't get the progress part. Like these
human
words
beings
that
are.
y'all keep using, liberation and progress and Western civilization. And now, do you remember yesterday when I told you Western civilization? Y'all are talking about white people. And y'all just kept saying to me, nah, we're talking about the Dutch and the Portuguese and this, that, and the other. And then Chef turned right back around this morning and started talking about white people. This
No,
conversation is
I think
too
he
complicated
admitted
for
to.
one
I think
plate.
he admitted today that he wasn't going to be scared to use that term moving forward, right? And I get it, right? I get. I don't know why you saying you don't get it, but I feel like I get it. You know what I'm saying? We're trying
Right?
to,
What do you
at
get?
least I
Why do you get it?
understand me. I know I'm trying to make, because I understand that this is difficult and it's sensitive and it's complicated. So I'm trying to say what I'm saying in the most palatable way I can, right? Because I'm seeing the sensitivity, right? And as I approach it, I'm trying to almost help you work through it because I'm working through it too. I don't like what the reality of it is, but I'm feeling as if I'm attempting to articulate or be objective about the reality. Right. So I understand about what I want to do. I may not want them to have any credit, but if I look at the events, like
And so, man, I'm gonna answer your question.
to some
When Britain introduced apprenticeship, oh, go ahead. I didn't know you was done. I thought you was done. Go ahead.
degree, I'd have to say that they at least a part of it. Right.
Um,
So the conclusion may not
is he going in and out,
be
Leon?
ideal, but not backdrop.
No, it
Had
sounds
on the
like you
change
going
and
in
what
and out.
facilitated. Not the reason why the change is
Is he
facilitated,
going
but
in and
who
out for y'all?
facilitated. Right. Not. What's the last thing you heard me say?
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah, he's
we're
going in
only
and
we're
out.
only
Yeah,
hearing
his
like
audio is going in and
every
out.
3 words, and then it pauses. Every 3 words, then it
Yeah,
pauses.
it's his audio. It's the audio is intermittent.
It's
Yeah,
all right. It's all right,
I
Brad.
was
He
in
ain't talking about nothing. He ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah, I'm just simply asking you to remember that the African didn't give a fuck about stopping slavery. While we sitting up here saying how imperfect it was when the white man did it, the African wasn't doing that shit at all. As a
Okay,
matter of
so let
fact, the
me
motherfucker was saying, "No, I'm not gonna stop."
right, but
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give you a little bit of game. Just listen. What Africans were doing in the 1830s in Africa. When Britain introduced apprenticeship in the Caribbean, 1834, 1838, Africa was actually not backward or empty. Across West Africa, you had complex kingdoms and trading states like the Asante Empire, the Oyo, the Sokoto Caliphate, and Dahomey. East Africa had long distance trade networks. Ivory, gold, cloth were moving from the interior to the
what you
Indian
think
Ocean
they were
ports
trading, Brad?
like Kilwa. Hold on. These societies had cities, armies, tax systems, and trade with Europe, North Africa, and Asia. That ain't really had nothing to do with the slavery. I just want to make sure sometimes when people say that Africa was fucked up at the time, you picture this dark place where nothing is going on. So I just wanted to give
What
clarity
you
as to
think the
what was
Asante
actually.
and the homie niggas was
No,
trading,
no,
bro?
no. I'm about to get into that. So yes, slavery and forms of servitude existed in Africa, but it was not the same as Caribbean chattel slavery or apprenticeship. Quotes.
No, their whole
Enslaved people
economy was based off of that shit, bro.
Enslaved people in African systems could often marry, own property, and sometimes rise in status. It wasn't hereditary and race based in the way the transatlantic system was. Apprenticeship was basically plantation slavery extended under another name. So to say apprenticeship was better is false. It was simply Britain's way of maintaining control over black labor. Now, where you're where I will never get away from the fact that slavery had already existed. But when y'all move to the fact that slavery already existed and that what Africans were doing to Africans on the continent at the time, and then somehow flash forward to talk about Western civilization coming in to save them, but all the while the transatlantic slave, like how do y'all get around the transatlantic slave trade?
I'm not trying to get around it. I'm saying that
So,
they did both.
yeah, I can't. That's our disconnect. That's our
I'm
disconnect.
not trying to get around it. I'm saying that human beings are so fucked up, right? That they literally ran rampant with enslaving each other for thousands of years. And as history goes, the first time I'm aware of somebody making it illegal and enforcing it is this. I mean, other than that, like that's all I'm saying, and that's what y'all fighting me on. Fighting me specifically. Now, Chef argument might be a little different. I think he might lean into moralities a little bit more than me. I'm not necessarily focused on why they did it.
But do you know how dangerous it is when you say that the Africans on the continent doing? You're saying Africans on the continent doing slavery to each other on the continent is somehow worse than Brit? Are you saying it's worse than what Britain was doing? What
Are
the
you
British
saying
were
it's
doing?
better? I'm
No,
not
no.
saying.
Answer that question.
I'm saying that what the British did certainly was different. And in terms of human rights, those people would have had more rights. You get the opportunity to be protected under the law, so on and so forth. We talking about in Africa, them niggas not even like they're like when they say that they're the minority, like them motherfuckers is like on the bottom rung of the caste system. All of them niggas. That's like, I mean, you're trying to give me a scenario where they can be married and have kids. And I'm talking about they ain't voting, they ain't never leaving that servant class like that.
Mm. I don't know. Somebody else got to talk on that one. I don't.
What I miss?
You got a good one here. You got a good one, Mel.
I didn't do no speaking for you because I didn't like how that was played out yesterday. So the floor is open for you to be able to say what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I don't lean as much into the moral fabric of it, but you might got some information on that I don't have. So I'm just simply saying that at the starting point, humanity was just fucked up, and slavery ran rampant for thousands of years, and it wasn't until you see, and it wasn't until this thing happened where stuff starts changing. Right? I keep comparing it to like what would it, so like we keep talking about what the how bad the new thing that Europeans introduced us to, and I keep saying, well, damn, the Africans, them niggas ain't give a fuck about
What
stopping
new
slavery.
thing that you introduced us to?
The abolition of slavery.
I mean,
no,
Yo,
you
who
said
else?
it. You said that. No, hold on, like
Who
Chef,
else did it?
you didn't say it. He said it. What new thing did they introduce us to? Some new form of
I,
slavery or something? What are you talking about?
I wouldn't call it slavery. It might be a new form of oppression, but it isn't slavery.
No, man, you just.
I just described the apprenticeship system to you, and you saying just because it wasn't the other thing that you don't see the problem.
You just made a distinction between chattel slavery and other slavery. To me,
Right,
they both slavery.
right, but I'm not saying one. No.
And
But I'm not saying one was
that
better than the
apprenticeship
other.
program. Go ahead.
I'm not
I
saying
get
one
what
is
you're
better
saying.
than the other. You
I
saying
get what
one is
you're
better.
saying.
The difference in our argument is that you so the difference in our
I get what
argument.
you're saying. Oh yeah, there must be some lag because we're talking at the same time. Go ahead.
Okay, the difference in our argument with what we're talking about is the British apprenticeship. I don't see I see it, yes, it's different, but I don't see it as better. I don't see it as an example of abolished slavery. Somehow when I hear abolish
So,
slavery, I mean like stop. Like completely
right, I
stop.
feel you.
Don't don't don't
Well,
don't
that
do something
apprenticeship.
else.
Hold
Don't
up,
tell me you
I got
abolish
you.
slavery. I'm not just talking to you though, Logic. When I'm saying abolish slavery, I'm not. If you abolish slavery and start apprenticeships, what the hell did you liberate? If you abolish slavery in America and start Reconstruction, and then go to Jim Crow, and then I mean,
Thank
if
you.
it never actually stops, when is the liberation? It never
That was my
stops.
argument. That was my argument, Brad.
I
Like
And
didn't
like
even
like
we
say
didn't say
oppression.
nothing yesterday.
I'm
I'm not
saying
talking about
me
oppression. I mean slavery.
specifically. I'm
Slavery
saying
by any other name is still
slavery.
slavery. It's just slavery by
He,
another name. You keep saying
right. They
oppression.
think
It's still
they
slavery.
think changing the word make it something else. I don't care what you call it.
It's
That's what
still
it is.
slavery.
Right.
Where's the
That's why we brought
I
up
liberation?
the
get you.
prisons.
I
That's why we
mean,
brought up the prisons, Brad.
Yeah, what I don't understand, y'all.
I
These
mean,
words y'all keep using. Listen, if Logic, just think real quick. If your job told you, let's say the job you work at right now, they're not paying you, and then they just said, well, next week instead of not paying you, you could work 45 hours for free, and anything after the 45 hours will pay you. They still not paying you, Logic. Like you wouldn't accept that for
okay.
yourself. But you trying to just tell me that versus slavery, where you just and on top of that, at your job, we still gonna whip you, we still gonna drive production, we still gonna do that. So what the British did was they abolished slavery, and then and the weird part about it, we forget this whole overglossing point of these great liberators. The money that they paid, that they just got finished paying off, was to slave owners. It wasn't to the slaves. So when y'all keep talking about it was a moral thing and a this and a that, every time they had the opportunity to do the moral thing, they didn't do it. Because even when they freed the slaves, they just took them from the original slave system and took them into this apprenticeship system. It's the same system, the same shit. When they freed the people, if it was moral, when they freed these slaves, these 1,600 boats, when they used their navy that was funded by the transatlantic slave trade that they were previously in, I can't forget that their naval empire and their wealth was based from the transatlantic slave trade. But let's go to when they freed these people, they didn't send them home. They didn't send them back to wherever they was from. They just took them from one slaver, called it freedom, liberation, and then put them into their apprenticeship program, which was just a different form of slavery. When did they liberate anybody, bro? When did they free anybody? They didn't free anyone.
I mean, based on your definition, like after hunter gatherers, like large swaths of the population just aren't free. Like I gotta generalize everything that you're saying, but based on that, like we haven't had freedom. Nobody in no society, at least no minority group. So that would then
Slavery
put
has
them doing the
existed.
same thing that everybody else is doing.
Slavery has existed in every society: Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. We had
Okay.
the Africans had complex empires. I get that they had evolving systems, but I'm never gonna let someone try to make me believe that Britain did this out of morality. They just
Again,
reshaped
that's
it,
not.
and then like they
I
reshaped
I
it, and
wouldn't
then like
say.
Cuba said, colonial rule after that.
I would never say that I wouldn't say that morality was the primary driver, but I accept that morality is one of the components in like the I guess momentum. But no, I don't
I don't
believe
know.
it's the primary driver.
This conversation is gonna stagnate with me because I'm not giving no ground. Because as soon as I give ground, then it's gonna be something
You on
else.
your
I'm not
hill.
giving no
You on
ground.
your hill.
Yeah, I'm not giving no ground in this conversation.
Can you give some insight in like what's problematic about giving ground?
On what specifically?
Start with your favorite thing. Like, what's the most glaring thing you like? If I give up ground here, then it's too much because.
I mean, we could talk about a whole bunch of points, talk about facts and history. I'm just not going to. I'm not going to give ground to highlight someone as a liberator. Then before I walk out the door, I ask them, I appreciate you for freeing us. I'm about to go across the street to this apprenticeship program that you was talking about. That sounds amazing. But then when I go back, when I look at that British person, I'm gonna say, hey, real quick, who did you free me from? And the motherfucker says me, I'm gonna have a hard time, pause, trying to rationalize in my mind that the person that freed me when I'm in a store. It's me and the person in the store, me and Britain. I'm a slave, me and the British. I'm talking to one British representative. And I say to this guy, I appreciate you after he pulled me from the slave ship. I say, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. You might say it at that point. But then when he says, well, I got this apprenticeship program and he shows me this beautiful billboard of what you can do and this, that, and the other. He don't show me what I'm actually doing. I'm just focused. He got me focused on the name apprenticeship program. Sounds like work. And I'm learning the trade and I'm doing this, that, and the other. And then he says it's across the street though. And then I say, you know what, man, you're a great person. And then before I walk out the door and look at this apprenticeship program, because it looks crazy now that I'm looking at it, I look back and I ask him, bro, you the one, I appreciate you, but I got a question. I didn't get a chance to realize who did you liberate me from? And your ships was beautiful. How did you pay for those? And that person say to me, the transatlantic slave trade is how I paid for the ships. And then, I freed you basically from us. And then I go into the apprenticeship program and realize as soon as I sign the contract, the shit says you got to work 45 hours for free. And then I could whoop your motherfucking ass the same way like slavery. And guess what? If you was a house nigga, wherever you was, you got to do this for 4 years. You ain't got no choice. But if you was a field nigga, wherever you was, you got to do this for 6 years. You ain't got no choice. And then somehow logic, in the middle of the evening, when me and you, both slaves in this apprenticeship program now, you somehow tell me, man, thank you for their liberation. And I cut your fucking throat. Because you can't even see it. I could picture us arguing about it right there. But now I'm picturing you telling me, "Oh, you liberal, man. Look what they doing for us, man."
When my
Crazy.
first year at college, there was a Christian. There was all the organizations on campus trying to recruit people, and it was a Christian group. And one of the members was a West African brother. Everybody else was white. And this was me at a different time in my life when I thought differently about things. And I just say that without getting on into that. So the conversation kind of turned into you following the white man's religion, blah, blah, blah. So this guy proceeds to tell me that if it wasn't for Europeans coming and doing what they did, bless their hearts, they would have never known about Jesus and they're saved. Right. So he was like, I'm thankful, that happened. And to say that these individuals in power are liberators, it reminds me of that. It's like saying I'm thankful to them because they got me from point A to point B. And it's just like, well, what about Africans in Africa and Africans that were displaced in the diaspora that weren't engaging and doing their own people wrong, but were liberating their people. I mean, there were maroon societies, there was uprisings, like, and again, it goes back to the point of Haiti. They did what they did because they were terrified. After Haiti, they thought the next uprising was going to be in Cuba. They were terrified in Louisiana. They were terrified all here, Central, South America, they were terrified. And Brass pointed out about the money they would be losing, their loss, right, versus their gain. They 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 didn't liberate, man. They just didn't. I mean, I don't know why I don't know why this is even a conversation. It's kind of weird. It's an interesting conversation, but it's strange. I've never. I mean, that's like
Very strange. No doubt about it.
you know. What I mean, that's like,
No doubt about
man.
it. Chef, if you still around, can
If
you?
it wasn't for Spain, my ancestors would still be canoeing around the Caribbean, and my ancestors, whatever the other ancestor, if it wasn't for Spain, my ass. If it wasn't for Spain, they caused the problems from where my family comes from. If it wasn't for whatever other group, West Central Africa is primarily the English that were responsible for Africans coming here. They caused they was there problems prior? Yes, but the problems intensified. Is what I'm getting at. There was already problems, but the problems intensified, and it's I don't know. It's just like why is it hard to just denounce?
Well, because I'm trying to be objectively truth about what I'm saying. Right? Steph, if you're still there, could you
No, I'm here.
explain that Tukey Williams point that you made earlier? Are you still there?
You talking to me?
Yeah. Nah,
Your
man.
chef is there. Out of love, can you do it one more time?
Yeah, so look, for me, the way I see it, I'm gonna get to the Tookie piece. The way I see it is when listening to Majasi and Cuban earlier, and I had to jump off for a minute, I was doing something. But before I jumped off, they had laid out the case for the whole economic piece and all of that. That was, the reason, right? And yesterday, even Stupies had laid out that certain that losing the colonies, the 13 colonies, the United States, you dig what I'm saying? And a slave revolt in Jamaica, you dig what I'm saying? And all of this, and the Haitian Revolution, all of this stuff made the British say, ho, this ain't lucrative no more. And, for me, I think that's a poor reading of history. I'ma just say that, right? And I think it convolutes.
It was wrong.
Okay, Logic, reprogram that Logic. Yeah.
Back to work, nigga.
So I think that, that's an oversimplification, right? And it's a way to take the moral argument off the table, right? Because the British, at the time, I think of them losing, even after they lost the 13 colonies, right? They still owned more slaves than France, Spain, and the United States. Even after they lost the 13 colonies, they were still bringing in more money than, the United States don't. The slavery that they had, they still had more slaves than all of the other powers, and they was bringing in more money from their slave trade than anybody else at that time. You dig what I'm saying? The late 1700s to even when they when them how do I want to say this?
Spain would have had most of the slaves.
No.
You do know that Spain. I'm talking about in all of the Americas, we including the Spanish colonies that were in like South America too, right? Florida, Texas, Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Those are Spanish colonies at this time.
No, they wasn't slaves in Florida. What are you talking about?
What do you mean it wasn't
Hey, Chef.
slaves in Florida?
Florida was
it wasn't slaves in Florida.
No, slaves was
listen.
the black people was free in Florida. What are you talking about?
The first slaves were Native Americans.
Yo, you about to mess up my point.
You're not making a point.
The slaves were free in Florida. What they
When
wasn't slaves in
when were
Florida.
the slaves free? First of all, if they're slaves, how are they free?
God,
they're not slaves if they're free.
Right. So thank you. So how can you make your point if the territory in Florida was free territory, you dig what I'm saying? Then they were running to Florida because it was free. All they had to do was become Catholic and
Christian.
Yeah, that's the reason why they was running to Florida.
Are you talking about the papers and about they can come and colonize the Americas and anybody that's not like Christian? Okay.
Yes. So back to my point. You know what I mean? Britain was making more money when they motherfucking ended the transatlantic slave trade. When they outlawed the transatlantic slave trade, they was at the height of their shit. They was importing over 50,000 slaves a year. When they ended the transatlantic slave trade, that marked the end to slavery for them. It sent their shit into a decline. They was making more money off. They was how do I want to say this? They was kind of 50% of the sugar that was being imported into York was being imported by the British. So when they put an end to the damn transatlantic slave trade, they marked the end to slavery in their empire. But it wasn't that it wasn't lucrative for them. That's my point.
You ready for this?
Something was happening with them, I'm saying it was a moral thing.
But you do know to the British, the colonists were the slaves. They came over as indentured servants, right?
What?
The colonists
you messing something up again. Explain what you're saying.
I'm saying that. So what you're saying is that you're talking about. So, to my understanding, the people that came over from Britain to the Americas were persecuted in Britain and came here as indentured servants.
I don't know what you ain't
never
talking
heard
about. What
that?
I'm talking about.
Chef,
No, I'm talking about the history. I'm talking about the American history. Talking about
the colonists wasn't slaves.
He threw you off. You were supposed to get to bring it around that Tookie Williams point.
Yeah, he keeps saying crazies like what you're trying to say that the 13 colonies, George Washington and them were slaves to the British? Is that what you was trying to say?
Yeah.
No, they was British citizens.
The first slaves were Native Americans.
All right.
The black slaves didn't come till later, and then when they was dealing with the African slaves, they found out that they was too aggressive and sent their ass back.
No.
The Native American slaves were a little docile. They weren't, you know what I'm saying, as good as workers as the African slaves. But the African slaves weren't as timid as the Native Americans, Indians. But I think I would say between I think it was like 1492 to about 1800s, about 6 million Indians were slaves.
Well, hold on, King J. You might have to get acclimated to the current conversation because you derailed his point to bring up something
I
we
don't
was
think he had a
never talking
point.
about.
That's why I derailed it, because it didn't make sense. It was just like
Well, how you know if he had a point if you derailed him? You ain't let him get to it.
that's why I stopped him, because his premise was wrong. If you start with a faulty premise, your whole conversation is gonna be off. That's why I'm like, it didn't make sense.
That's cool. Well, up in here, you know what I'm saying? We try to let people at least make their point clear before we rebut them, so we can at least know what their point is.
Now
I
I
think that would
want to
be
know
But
what I
beneficial
said.
to everybody.
if he uses dates, we'll be okay. Like, we gotta deal with
No, like
1860.
let him finish his point though, please.
I
Okay,
remember my point. Hold on, Logic. King J, where was I wrong at?
go ahead. I
And
mean,
how did what you say give any context to what I was saying?
you said that the American colonies had more slaves than the British. I mean, than
No,
the
I
French
didn't.
and Spanish.
No, I
That's why I
didn't.
stopped you at.
Yeah,
You
you
said
stopped me because you heard something wrong.
your
Yeah, he didn't
exact
say
words.
that.
He
I
did say
didn't
that.
say that.
Your, I, well,
You just
correct
said
me if
the
I'm wrong.
opposite of what I said.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I thought you said was, even after the British lost control over the 13 colonies, they still had more
It was
slaves
still importing more slaves. Exactly.
than the
Yes.
Spanish.
Yes.
And so that's where I stopped you at, because
50,000 a year. Yes.
I said the Spanish colonies would have still had more slaves than the 13 colonies, because that would included Brazil, that would included South America, Florida,
Spain
Texas,
wasn't Brazil. You got that wrong. That's what
Portuguese,
I'm
Spanish.
saying. That's the Portuguese. That's the Portuguese. You're
Spain still
wrong,
had the back
brother.
half of Brazil. They did.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're wrong. You
I'm not
mixed
wrong.
stuff up.
So I'm saying that's you have to include all of that. That's still
Why
a
would
Spanish colony.
I include that? Why would I
Because
do?
those were the areas that the Spanish were importing the slaves to.
Oh my God.
The Spanish and Portuguese weren't importing slaves to Brazil.
Now you said the Spanish and the Portuguese.
Yeah,
The
but we're talking about
Portuguese.
the slave count of the
I'm
Spanish.
gonna let you do your thing. I'm gonna mute out. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying that there would still be more slaves in the Spanish colonies than the British ones. That's all. That was it.
Oh, okay. So hold on. Let me get back to my point. Um, let me see. So we have. I'm gonna read.
So even after the British lost, they still had control over the ports in America.
They still had control over the ports. No, but by 1807, they stopped the transatlantic slave trade. So
Mhm.
even the ports of the Americas couldn't import new slaves in.
African slaves.
Yeah.
They still had Native American slaves.
What?
That didn't end until 1880.
King J, you believe in the reverse slave trade thing?
What's the reverse slave trade?
Are you trying to say that well, never mind. I don't want to jump what you're saying. It just sounds like I heard just a lot of people trying to say that Native Americans were actually
Slaves, the first slave. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Like DeSoto when he came to Florida, he encountered the Native American. He didn't encounter Africans. They enslaved those people. The French, when the French came down through Canada, they encountered Native Americans. They didn't encounter Africans.
Well, yeah, the
They enslaved those
Inquisitions,
people.
the Inquisitions of the Iberians, the Spanish and Portuguese occurred before the African Holocaust.
Africans. Right.
Yeah.
So
But
these are
then
the first.
the Inquisitions was the window to the African Holocaust because they used up and killed and damn near killed all the indigenous people.
Right.
And so
They brought the Africans over.
yeah, and then after the Africans in the Caribbean, then comes the Asians were the ones that were used. The Japanese, the Chinese, the Filipinos, and the Indians from India
On
were
the
used as
railroad.
no. I'm talking about in the Caribbean and South Central America
Oh, okay.
when they stopped quote unquote enslaving the Africans. They then went to the Asians because it was them that was dealing with the sugar cane, but they were called indentured servants.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why like you have the Chinese in Jamaica, in Trinidad, Guyana. You have Filipinos, Japanese, Chinese in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. That's where they all come. That's why they're there. That's why there's the admixture of Asians and people from these places.
The Taino.
Well, that they were the original people. Yeah, but my fault, Chef.
No, go ahead. I just
Tuki
learned
Watt.
something.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
All right, now thought the main struggle.
Discord. Be party popping. Discord acting up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, can y'all hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, so where was I at? Okay, so the point that I was making was for the last 2 days, the people, everybody was saying that somehow Britain had faced economic hardship with slavery that made them change their system. Y'all remember everybody trying to say that, right?
Well, that's what it said, sure.
Yeah, they saying that slavery wasn't lucrative to the British no more, so they start hating on everybody else. So that
Hey,
they
Chef.
said, huh?
If you look what I put in because I was been doing research behind the scenes. I threw all this in ChatGPT. It says that it was a switch in the economic landscape from 1700s to the 1800s. Industrialization was the main fuel to switching up. Like Brad's been reiterating that it was more profitable, now to have controllable wages than slave wages. That was the number one reason they put. 2, it showed resistance and rebellion. Number 3 was morals and humanitarian pressure. That's more what you were speaking about. And then 4, what you just spoke about, was political competition. Of course, if you cut out slavery, you want to cut out everybody else doing slavery because they making money off the slavery. I understand. Then shit. We looking like we on the same page. Is because the summary said European powers abolished slavery because it was less profitable and more dangerous and a political costly, while abolish movements reframed it as immoral. So we within that same aspect, and I don't see where the issue is.
All right, so let me share my screen.
Bet.
And let's go get some sources here. Let's see if we can pull up some motherfucking books, right? Let's see if we get to the bottom of this. All right, 205. Let's see what we got here. We got all right. Abolition, a history of slavery and anti-slavery. All right, let's go to Let's go to, let me look at, where was I at? Let's go to the abolitionism, 8, abolitionism without revolution, Great Britain, page 205. All right, let's do this. My bad, y'all. I hate doing this from my phone. But I'm at work, so I ain't at no computer.
You ain't got no job, Tommy.
All right, we about to do a little bit of reading, so bear with me, y'all. All right. As we have seen in the case of North America, the Caribbean, and Latin America, and continental Europe, the boundaries between slavery and anti-slavery and most of the Atlantic world appeared to shift as a result of unforeseen and unintended outcomes of violent struggles fought for other purposes. Within one nation, however, the boundaries shifted in a deliberative process matched only in one corner of the northern United States. Britain also experienced enormous vicissitudes in dealing with its overseas slave system during the 2 generations after 1775. Now, this is after they lost the American colony, right? That's what they're talking about. All right. In the first decade of that period, from 1775 to 1783, the imperial power with the world's largest and most productive slave system lost control of half of it. All right. In the middle decades of that period, from 1794 to 1814, the Caribbean remainder of the slave system was first threatened and then enlarged. So y'all was right. They lost in the beginning in the first decade, but then in that second decade, from 1794 to 1814, their shit grew. All right. And then it says, on the eve of the post-war peace settlement with Europe, the British Empire again ruled over more slaves than it had at the outset of the American Revolution. So it diminished first, then they pick back up and start kicking ass for slavery again, right? It says in 1814, Patrick Colquhoun estimated Britain's imperial slave population at 1.15 million, consisting of 634,000 in the British West Indies, 372,000 in conquered Caribbean colonies, and 108,000 in conquered Asian colonies and dependencies. Even setting aside India, the British institution encompassed a slave population equal to those of the United States and more than those in Brazil. The trajectory of Britain's policy towards slavery was not primarily dictated either by the loss of its North American slave sector or the later dramatic threats of some Caribbean islands in the mid 1790s. As we have seen,
I get what happened now.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish. As we have seen during the decade preceding British abolition of the slave trade in 1807, the British Empire had discovered a cheaper solution to the defense of the institution in the Caribbean, which had cost its military 80,000 men in the 1790s. Once it became the largest single purchaser of African slaves as recruits, the British military easily extended its empire to include all the colonies of its enemies. Ironically, British colonial slaveholding reached its zenith in the wake of the slave abolition. Think about what that just said. It said it reached its zenith in the wake of their abolition, meaning the shit was bumping, it was profitable. So how can we then say now that it wasn't profitable? You think what I'm saying? If it reached its zenith, right, when abolition started to come on board. So when they started to take on the abolitionist movement, right, the abolitionists was fighting against Britain being having this most profitable period under its slavery institution. What, think about that. All right. So then it say, even after no, hold on. I already read that. No, I'm right on point.
No, that's where you stop. That's where you
Right.
stop.
Even after returning some colonies to former belligerents in 1814, the areas most appropriate for slave settlement exceeded those controlled by the monarchies of Spain, France, and the Netherlands. Meaning they was importing more slaves and making more money than Spain, France, and Portugal with their fucking slavery, right? And then it says Britain extended its slave frontier and the greater Caribbean alone more than tenfold in the half century after losing North America in 1775. It says that rate of it says that rate of expansion exceeded even that of the United States of America until British policies began to inhibit slavery's growth. The British transatlantic slave trade also reached its all-time peak. By the end of the transatlantic slave trade, by the end of the 18th century, British slavers were landing 50,000 slaves per year in the Americas and moving nearly 60% of the total number of captives shipped across the ocean. Therefore, British slavery did not decline because of any major shift in the institution's contribution to the British economy. I'm going to end right there. Meaning they were making buku money. You dig what I'm saying? And you can't say that they stopped because they lost the Americas and it was some fighting going, some slaves was acting crazy in the Caribbean. Nigga, they was still getting money.
In the Caribbean. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I thought so. As long as we know that don't have nothing to do with the American.
What?
Yeah, after British lost the 13 colonies, they continued slavery in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you come, my bad, Jay. You coming in the middle of the conversation.
No, I'm just reading what you just said. That's what you just read.
Yeah, but I was reading it for a reason.
Because I'm new to the conversation. Yeah,
I was countering that, you know what I mean, the thing that, you know, they were saying that, you know, it wasn't profitable for them no more. Like it was profitable for the British at that time.
Chef, can I ask you a question, Chef?
Go ahead.
Okay, do you believe there was an economic shift?
I think that them stopping the transatlantic slave trade created that economic shift.
No, that's kind of a stretch. So, but you do believe there was an economic shift, correct?
Yes. But I think that they brought that shit on.
So you're saying you feel like Britain brought that on?
Yeah, like they changed their system, right?
Industrialization started in Europe, correct?
Yes, but they still needed the shit that go into they still needed the raw materials that the slaves was producing, the raw materials that was going into the factories that was producing the goods from those. Basically, you had to get those raw materials out of the earth, right? It's two parts to it. Do you agree with me, DQ?
No, I definitely do. I want you to get too far off my point because I'm showing why there was a big boom. I'm going to show
Okay.
why there was a big boom, and I'm gonna break it down easily just in drug terms for you.
Go ahead.
Because you see that Britain abolished slavery. They saying abolish of slavery was 1807, but
No,
they
that
kept
wasn't the abolition. That was the transatlantic slave trade.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
throughout it kept going until 1833, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So 1833, 1807 to 1833. If something was legal and they banned it, but they kept it going, what happens on the streets like that? If you got some bricks, they ban the bricks, but you can still get them on the side, get them off on the side. You're going to keep doing that. You're probably going to make a lot more, and you're probably going to make more money within that little short span than you did the whole time you probably was.
Right.
So I can totally understand the shit bubbling because that's what it's going to do. It's illegal now, and the legal goods probably cost a little bit more. So
DQ, you could even take it back to when alcohol was banned. They were doing the same shit.
Exactly. The prohibition. Yeah, I was gonna do that, but you know, Baltimore, them niggas talk drugs. They don't talk alcohol. Yeah, so but you're 100% right with the prohibition. You know what I'm saying? That's how Al Capone got all his money and shit. That's how the Kennedy family got their money. They ran it up during that time period. And I was about to touch on it deals with timing, bro. This whole shit was an amalgamation of timing that happened. Niggas was making too much money and got hot. The abolishment movement was picking up, and then they realized there was a new system that could be more lucrative than this old system. Everything changes with it. So that's what I'm just trying to say. It was an amalgamation of many things. I don't want to just harp on the economic system change. Of course that happened, but there was an amalgamation of it. People's mindset and thinking changed also. There was a transition, like you said, from people being in a traditional type thinking in Africa to a social, not socialistic, but a status Lacoste type system, which I learned from Cuban. You know what I'm saying? It's a total mind shift. So I can totally hear what you're saying, but there are multiple other reasons than just that. And I believe timing, you need to look at that because that's more important within this situation.
No, I agree. But the moral issue. So I'm gonna go to France, right? With the French Revolution. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that from the Enlightenment period in Europe up until the drafting of the U.S. Constitution, I'm saying that to the Civil War and the amendments, I'm saying that this was an evolution of Western thought and progress into what we see as humanitarian. Now that I'm saying it started with the Renaissance. You dig what I'm saying? And their ideals of freedom and humanity evolved. And I'm saying that the anti-slavery movement and all of that was a part of that process. You feel me? And it was about I'm saying it was largely had to do with their with their change in understanding of morals. I'm not saying that it wasn't economics involved. They had to put the economics into it. You feel me? Like you just can't tell.
The whole thing was economics, so I totally understand that. The whole
You
thing
can't
was
tell slave owners, right? You can't tell slave owners, yo, we gonna stop the slavery. And so, nigga, that's how they make their money. You feel me? I can feel as though the shit is wrong. That's like you trying to go out on the street right now and say, yo, selling drugs is wrong. You dig what I'm saying? You still gonna have, you can feel that way. That's your morals, right? Now, you're gonna have to figure out a way to be able to show these drug dealers I'm gonna be able to have to replace the way that y'all making money.
The
You
way they
feel
do
me?
it.
I'm gonna have to show you another way to make money. But you can't act like that your morals is not the reason why you're coming up with different ways for them niggas to stop selling drugs. You feel me?
Well, God damn it. It can in a smaller sense, but when you're as big as we want to talk about Europe, I can see, because this is how I blank it is. It's real simple to me. They are the largest business that started the shit, and once the business model switched, it was a wave to switch the whole business, and it took time because they controlled so fucking much. That's just how I look at it. It was just like the switch happened. It was a slow, gradual switch. You see, it took them 30 years with the transatlantic slave trade. They were still thugging underneath the table because like you said, the mindset switch. It was a different system that they was moving through. So, like I'm trying to see where the confrontation is. I've definitely seen.
Look at the United States. Look at the United States. All right.
Okay.
So in the United States, you had one half of the country who was for slavery because they were more agriculturalists, right? They had the land and they was drawing the raw materials out of the land. So you need slavery for that. But then you have another part of the country that is industrial, right? Now they got to take that raw material. They need labor for those industrial factories, right? But I'm saying, either way you look at it, those two work together.
Of course they do. We see that in 2020 hindsight.
Right. So, right. So if those two work together, right, then obviously both sides is making money with each other. The drug dealer need the nigga with the poppy fields. You feel me? That you still need those motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Growing the cocaine. You still need those farmers. So you want, yeah, right. So just because the motherfucker who made the shit into the consumable drug, he still need that other piece to it. So if I'm gonna say I'm gonna take away that other piece, then it has to be how can I still make it profitable if I take one half of that shit away?
Well, it's not even taking one half about it. It's about modifying the way that one half is doing. It's different if I got 6 of my Mexican homies working to grow, and they getting paid right. I'm making sure that everything is good. It's a stipend versus kidnapping 6 illegals and forcing them to grow plants for me. It's a different way. If we gonna work together, you got to clean that up over there, bruh. It's simply like that. You know what I'm saying?
So what happened to the South? What happened to the South economically?
We got crushed because we had to clean that shit up. There's a different way you had to do it. There's a reason why they switched from straight chattel slavery to sharecropping. My great-great-grandfather was a sharecropper, Drew, Mississippi. They had to switch the way they did it. It didn't switch the whole system. They were still getting the cotton off. They were still shipping it up to make the shirts. They were still getting it distributed. But they switched the way.
But what happened though? It started to gradually die.
What gradually
it started to boom. It started to boom. The
South, what are you talking about?
The South started to succeed from the North. This is the whole reason.
No, you just jumped, bro.
Yeah, but this is the reason why they started to succeed.
No, we're talking about after the war.
Talking after now.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It was booming during slavery. I'm saying that it was on a decline after that.
Industrialization.
No, you still gotta put. You still need the farm.
You do need the farmers, but put it like this. Let's break it down in front end and back end. The back end, and you can say the farmers and shit. The front end, you can go ahead and say the processing of the plant. It shifts. It used to be the back end was the most important. Once they got the system right to where they systemized it, the front end became more important. The industrialization of it became more important.
And it killed the other economy, right?
But it didn't kill it. It just started working within the system. The ratio dropped a little bit. It went from 50-50 probably to 75.
Right, let's look it up. Let's look and see what happened to the Southern economy after
I hate
slavery.
this school. I truly hate the school of chef. Y'all, this is insane, bro.
Let's see what happened to the Southern economy.
Somehow y'all talk about morals, and then y'all say if morals was the key, then they wouldn't give a damn if the Southern elites tanked. They would have just ended slavery. What do morals got to do with it? They only didn't do it because of finance.
Right, more ain't got shit to do with it.
Yeah, like what do morals like? Y'all listen to Chef say that it was morals. Y'all heard he said 2 minutes ago, and I had to replay it on YouTube to make sure I heard him correctly. He said that it was the agriculture of the South was the justification for slavery. If it was morally wrong, what the fuck? They pick your own fucking cotton. Find some white people, pay them to pick that fucking shit. You just said agriculture was the justification for the South. And then on the same voice say, well, morally, they ended it because they evolved morally. What are you saying? Your argument don't make sense. I'm trying to step back like Chef do and listen to y'all talk, but it seems like y'all are listening to Chef, not what he's saying. You can't no one can say the agriculture is a justification. They needed the slavery because of agriculture. No, they could have paid people to do that cotton. They could have paid people to do it. They just didn't do it. They would have made profit. They would have just made less profit. Slavery was never needed in the South, bro. Never. It was never needed.
I told him that
in the
didn't
South.
follow yesterday. I told him that doesn't follow. It doesn't make sense to do it that way. I told him that yesterday. Chef just he won't. If he owns something, he own it. So like if you heard him when he started talking, he had already read that article because he was talking about the 50,000 before he started talking. Chef ain't slick. I know his fighting style.
Yeah,
Hold on, I'm back. What happened?
See,
we caught you lying. We caught you lying.
Yeah,
what I lie about now?
Yeah, this is ignorant. this is an ignorant conversation. We're not even that. Even when we start talking about slavery after, even when we start talking about that, the North was complicit in the slavery too.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think was making money off all this cotton? There wasn't no morals.
Maryland was fucking eating that money.
The North was they was completely against it while selling that shit. See, like, listen, if y'all trying to tell me somehow that on this planet, if the people and morals ruled the day, how the hell could you look at the planet and say that? How could you look at any inch of this planet and say morals rules the day? Look at the billionaires list. Not a moral motherfucker on it. Look at the Forbes list. No morals. Look at the thriving nations versus the ones that aren't. No, it's not morals. This is economic system structures and institutions, dominant class systems, capitalism. You find me the morality in capitalism. Find me the morality in what we claim is democracy in the United States. Y'all keep talking about this thing that don't exist, but you want me to think it exists for your argument. People they didn't morally evolve from the Enlightenment period. When Thomas Jefferson was saying that slavery was terrible, the nigga had 600 slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't have these conversations irregardless of history. If it was moral, they wouldn't have wrote the loophole in the fucking 13th Amendment. Everybody has rights except if you locked up. Like, where's the moral? So we don't have morals for prisoners? That don't make sense. What's
Do
up, Corey?
morals evolve? Just asking. Do morals
What's up?
evolve
What's
at all?
up, Corey? Concrete.
Peace to y'all. Peace to
Peace to
y'all. Hey,
you, G.
look,
It's good to see you, bro. I'm losing it.
I thought today would be a different day, Brad, but
It's Chef, bro.
y'all doing this to me again. I
It's
went to
Chef.
sleep. I went to sleep last night with low self-esteem, right? So now here I go again. It's lunchtime. It's lunchtime, and my self-esteem is not coming back up, bro. I'm not hearing a good argument. You guys are not making good arguments. Because, and you know, it made me think too. Like, even after the conversation yesterday, I thought about it. I said, well, maybe if I ask a question, I don't know if they can talk me out of something that I'm thinking now. You know what I mean? Just a hard question. Like, I want to be talked out of it, right? Because I don't think y'all. But my problem is I don't think y'all up to the task, bro. So I thought about the fact that I think planet Earth was in better condition during slavery than now. I think during slavery, right? Because it's like, what do you do? How, now, is you gonna say like it was better for the planet 100 years from now when the temperature is +3 degrees on average, and then like y'all gotta come up with a good answer. You can't just get emotional about, well, how can you say the planet is better off with slavery? Like it's actually the data shows that the planet was better off. Planet Earth was better off during the slavery time than now, than the time when the slaves was free. So just like what Shepard's saying, right? The British, or I guess Western civilization, spread the most freedom around the world, or liberated the most people around the world from being in slavery. Now, y'all can keep going back down the road of, well, they started the slavery, fine. And I think he done gave y'all that already, right? But now y'all still ain't gave me like a group of people, or some person, or a country, or a continent, or an organization, or an institute that's done more liberating of oppressed people or enslaved people than the Western world. I just hear a bunch of, I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like the way it sounds either, but that's not convincing me otherwise. Go ahead, go ahead.
That means y'all not listening. If you kick me in my stomach and then stop and say, I'm gonna kick you in your knee now, you ain't liberate my goddamn stomach. If you just change slavery into apprenticeships, you didn't liberate me. You just put me into something else that you're comfortable with. My argument is that there was no liberation. I'm saying that it never stopped. You can't liberate me from picking cotton and then call it sharecropping and put a quota on it, and then say, well, if you cross the street after 6 o'clock, I'm gonna lock you up, and then you lose your rights and you back in slavery. It's the same thing. So what y'all call liberation, I'm calling control, labor control. They just changing it from one thing to the other. There was no actual liberation. So yes, I will say that they're the most they're the largest enslavers and the largest oppressors. But you still got to show me. Y'all have not showed me liberation. So I don't have to show you. I don't have to show you where who did others or who did this. I mean, we know Toussaint. We know Haiti freed themselves. I can go back and look up examples of people that freed themselves. But what I'm telling you, though, my argument hits to the core of the word. Western civilization has never
You
actually
was gone
liberated
yesterday
anyone.
when he rebutted that. You was gone yesterday when he
Oh, I didn't.
rebutted
Yeah, I
you on
wasn't
your
gone.
Haitian thing. You
Yeah, I wasn't gone. I mean, I
well,
was
that was
gone, but
funny. Hey,
You gonna hate this right here, bro. You
What
gonna
was
hate
the
this.
what was the what
I
was the
don't want to throw
rebuttal to
my
that?
tablet costs too much to throw this motherfucker, Corey.
What was the rebuttal to Haiti? Because Haiti not only liberated themselves, but Haiti liberated Venezuela. Haiti liberated Ecuador. Haiti liberated, and that was another fear factor that the French and the English and the Spanish, and these people had a fear of, because it wasn't just with Haitians; it was any oppressed people of colonial rule. That the Haitians were down to liberate the people. How
He
can
said
that?
that
How can Haiti be?
Jefferson
How
said
can
the
that be rebuttal?
Haitians that if it wasn't for the French, the goodness of the French heart, they had it. They had the the French folks. They had it in the good morals. And if it wasn't for them, thank the Lord for them, right?
Oh my God.
Because they could have pulled back up on them ships and bust them niggas' heads, but they chose not to. They chose not to bust them niggas' heads. So I mean, I think what he's saying is the freedom was given to them. They didn't shit get taken. You know what I mean?
So Francis Grace is the only reason for the Haitian.
I think you guys are trolling. I don't think you guys are being
Y'all
serious.
got to be trolling, bro. Y'all can't be serious at this point, bro.
The emotional rebuttal. I gave an emotional rebuttal to that yesterday, right? But I have not heard
I didn't even hear him say
a sound. I haven't heard a rebuttal that was sound, devoid of emotion. Yeah,
I don't want to teach history, bro, but I'm assuming that either Chef don't know much about the Haitian Revolution, or people in here that he was talking to just didn't know much about the Haitian Revolution. They didn't free them out of no fucking mercy, bro. They couldn't contain the revolt. If you read it, and Chef noticed.
Man, bro, if you don't
they
think
couldn't
that
contain
the
that
French
revolt.
Empire couldn't put down Saint-Domingue,
because they were
like if they decided,
no,
man, come on,
no,
bro,
but see,
crazy.
what you won't tell them, hold
That's
on,
crazy.
what you won't tell them, right? I know y'all niggas went to school. Well, who else was France fighting at the time of that revolution? They was fighting Britain and Spain. They were fighting both of them. So when Toussaint switched allegiance after they abolished slavery, it became some shit that they couldn't do. The abolition in the France colonies was survival to them. So they weren't showing grace to Haiti. They had to do it. And the revolution was what caused them to have to do it, because they couldn't fight. Anytime you fight in a war, what do y'all always hear on terms? In the street, on Monopoly, in fucking Battleship. You can't be fighting wars on too many fronts.
Yeah, that's
because
what
when you
happened.
fight a war on too many fronts, you gotta pick one of these motherfuckers and be like, nah, y'all got it.
Yeah,
because I gotta focus on them.
They could have took that motherfucker
wasn't
back.
even part of the argument at the time.
They could have took that motherfucker back.
No, they couldn't.
because the Haitians were using
What
guerrilla
up,
warfare.
Psycho? They fighting right now, bro.
Wait.
The French did not use guerrilla.
Guerrilla
warfare.
I don't want nobody helping me with my argument. Let me be clear, because apparently when I'm not in here, then nobody is actually like using facts to fight this fucking white supremacist chef in this motherfucker. This nigga's a white supremacist.
No, they wasn't using facts.
But Brass, that's why I typed in the back about the Napoleonic Wars. You would understand that France was already weakened militarily from those wars to begin with.
Right. Okay, so I appreciate you. And then on top of that, do y'all want to know wait, Trump?
Earlier.
Hey, Corey, do you know what France did to Haiti after that fucking war? 150 million francs in indemnity to compensate them damn slaveholders. And they crippled the fucking Haitian. Y'all act like France didn't do anything to after them. This is what I'm trying to say. Y'all be so focused on the gun in France. Hold on, y'all be so focused on the gun in France's hands that y'all forgot that France to this day crippled the Haitian economy. Crippled it, bro. So
I brought that up.
Even if it wasn't slavery, if you cripple the countries, if when you leave, you cripple the fucking economy for 100 fucking years, what's the fucking difference? This ain't liberation, bro. They didn't give them freedom, bro.
So
They just
Haiti
stopped
is
so they can
fucked
focus
up.
on Spain.
Hold on,
Haiti is ball in your court now, Chef.
Haiti is fucked up because of what?
I'm done, bro. Y'all go ahead, bro. Y'all
Chef,
niggas. I'm not
Haiti-
listening. I ain't no
Haiti-
fucking history teacher, bro.
Haiti
If y'all
is-
need history, y'all can look that shit up. It's too much
All right.
technology.
So Haiti is in a situation, Brass pointed out, that they did not defeat the Haitians militarily.
However long, you know what I mean?
They made them pay back, quote unquote, a debt that they shouldn't have had to pay.
Right.
That cripples them economically. Then you have to put in perspective, since these people liberate people so much, right? Then you have to put into consideration coups. You have to put in consideration political puppets that were put into place by America. You have to keep in mind that the French and the Canadians and Americans are going into Haiti to this day, taking the natural resources. They have a lot of natural resources in Haiti. All of this is a factor of why Haiti is in the state that Haiti's in. Like, it's just, that's why when you guys keep talking about liberators, it's like, you look currently what's going on in so many different places. Liberators liberated.
Right. Now I'm gonna ask a question.
Look at wait, real quick. Look at Dominican Republic. Why is Dominican Republic in the situation Dominican Republic is in? And why does Dominican Republic have the relations it has with Haiti? Why do a lot of Dominicans view Haitians the way that they view Haitians? Because that was your liberators that indoctrinated them. These were your liberators that put puppet politicians into position of power, that corrupted their own country just for their own personal gain, fucking the people, mind fucking the people, making people hate each other over a little invisible border, saying, oh, this is Haiti and this is Dominican Republic, dividing people over language, or you speak French or you speak Spanish, dividing people. This is all through the Caribbean, South Central America, and North America. This is like a global thing. This is what, and this has nothing to do with race. It has to do with money. It's just a thing of people maintaining their power, and by the means of them maintaining the power, then you got to divide people. And once you divide people, you don't have to now hang people from trees and burn crosses in people's yards. Now you got people doing the biddings of these people that buy into the shit. And so it destabilizes people socially, destabilizes people economically, it destabilizes people on every level. It's not a good thing. So these people are not liberators. I can't believe y'all have to be trolling. If you guys know so much about ancient Egypt, but you don't know about Haiti and what happened in Haiti in comparison to fucking if Tutankhamun wore depends male underwear, diapers, whatever it is you guys be talking. This is
Who's
crazy.
looking for a liberator in the first place?
They were saying
Chef,
before the they were
that's
saying
what,
before.
no, Mel. That's the whole conversation.
Yeah.
There's no need
That
for
the
a
Western
liberator.
civilization is the liberator. But I'm trying to make it clear in every single case when we have these conversations, I'm trying to make it clear that there was no liberation. There was no actual freedom from any fucking thing. You just took slavery and then said, well, here, we're going to let y'all free, but y'all owe us 150 million francs. And then you cripple their economy for the next 100 years. And then you say, well, at least y'all not slaves. That's not liberation, bro.
Hey, Corey. Corey,
Yes,
what
sir.
I say? What did I tell you the French did? They spared them niggas. They pulled back up on them. They
like
pulled back
27
up on them,
days.
and they told them either y'all gonna pay this money or we gonna level this bitch. And they paid them. They
That's
paid
liberation.
them. They gave them the
They
ultimatum.
still
So
had
That's
all
their
of this
liberation.
shit
independence.
sound good.
Is
Bro,
that
I
liberation?
promise y'all, all y'all talking points sound good. But I'm telling you what actually happened. It's hard to swallow this shit. I know.
Would you call that
I
liberation?
know.
We
Man,
call
you
that
have
liberation.
you have
And
a
I was
fucking
gonna
script.
ask Psycho. I was gonna ask
How is
you,
that
Psycho,
liberation
because
though? Like that's not
I need a
liberation. That's
I
that's
need
a
a good
shakedown. That's a
rebuttal
shakedown.
here.
That happens in the mafia all the time.
They pulled back up on them,
They'll
Corey.
break a window, then say they'll walk in the next day and say, "Look like you need some protection." Like that's basically what
Right.
they did, right? Like so, but my question is this, because I'm hearing these talking points. I heard some of it yesterday. I see y'all back at it again today. And oddly enough, I had a debate with a popular white supremacist up on here. I don't know if you remember this, Corey. You might have saw this back in the day. But yeah, one of the talking points he had, the conversation was about reparations, right? And
Who was the guy? What was the guy's name?
JF,
Psycho.
what's his name? JF Garify or whatever the hell his name is. That
Oh
motherfucker.
yeah. I know who you're talking
Yeah, and his position is sound a lot like y'all's is black people ain't owe reparations. As a matter of fact, black people owe white people
Psycho.
reparations because
Psycho.
they're the ones who set us free. They're the
Psycho,
ones
real
who
quick.
fought in the
Psycho.
war, and X, Y, and Z. So according to these talking points that I've been hearing up on here, and these sound like whacktivist talking points, white activist talking points that are supporting white reparations, because there's a movement out here of white people that use these talking points to say that their ancestors of the slave owners were owed reparations,
Psycho.
lost land, lost property, all types of wild shit.
Psycho, can I ask you a question real quick? Or can I make a statement for you? Can you please be clear when you say y'all? Because I don't want to be associated with that shit. Don't put my name with that shit. You've been listening to the conversation. Is
No, not
Chef?
everybody. No, not
Is
everybody.
Chef? No, because I just want to be clear with the logic. Is Chef, Logic, Tony, Fetty? This is not y'all, bro. It's 4 niggas in here saying that shit.
Bro, why you keep, bro? Stop doing that, bro.
No, you right.
Real,
No,
I never
I'm
said
quiet
that.
the
whole
Don't put
Betty
me
ain't
in
going
there.
to
Don't
leave.
do that. I never said that.
This even made Betty
Crazy, bro. This man Brad's always doing that shit,
bro.
bro.
Y'all. So you've been co-signing Western
God damn, bro. I
civilization
said
as the
both of y'all. I
greatest
said both of y'all are making good talk, bro. You
Yeah,
always
but you.
doing
I
that
know.
shit,
I
bro.
don't
Come
think
in
Chef
and
is
out of
making
the
good talking points.
conversation.
I don't
Come
think
in
Chef
out
is
of the
making good
conversation
talking
and
points.
start
I don't think
brush
Chef is
statements.
making good talking points. If you think Chef is making a good talking point, or you agree at all with what Chef is saying, you in that
Bro,
bag.
I read, bro.
Logic,
What I read,
Fetty,
I said
and
it was
Tony.
good talking
It ain't
points on
me.
both sides. Stop
This
doing
ain't
this
me.
goofy ass shit
This
you
ain't
doing,
me,
bro.
bro.
That shit's silly.
This ain't me. All 4 of them
God
niggas.
damn.
When you say
Look,
y'all,
Psycho.
when you say y'all, Psycho, I want you to be clear. It's 4 people. It ain't y'all. It's like 15 people in here. It's 4. It ain't y'all, bro. Go ahead. I just want to be clear.
I
want to
don't
separate that
hate
shit.
Chef argument. I don't. Matter of fact, I hate how it sounds, but I feel as if it's objective. I think that's like, I think that would just be describing what happened. I'm not saying I like it. Right. My position is a lot more simple than Chef says. I'm simply saying that they did more than Africans did for human rights. And you can go beyond with that and take it somewhere else, but that's the
No, I'm
simple
not
version
trying
of
to
what I'm
take it
doing.
nowhere. I just want to be clear, because when this happens a lot in these arguments. When somebody come
Well,
in and make
you
a
weren't
statement
being
like
clear when you lump me into other stuff, and I
you
keep
don't
telling you
agree with Chef.
I don't lean into the moral framework as
I
much
ain't
as
talking
Chef
about
does.
morals. You said
Well,
no. Hold on. Let's be.
that's
Hold on.
where we
Hold on. Wait,
separate.
Logic. Wait, Logic. Hold on, Logic. I just want to be clear. Chef made a statement. Western civilization are the greatest liberators, the greatest human champion of human rights
Let's
in
be
world
clear.
history.
They did
Hold
not
on, wait,
So,
liberate.
Brad, did you not hear me say that I got a problem? I got
You
a
may have
problem with the word
no.
liberator too. You don't
Okay,
remember me
fine.
saying that
Then
several
remove
times?
liberator. Okay, then I'll remove liberator for your part. In some way, shape, or form, I'll change my statement. In some way, shape, or form, those four people agree with what Chef is saying. In some way,
Okay,
either in
I
your
got
case, it might be
I
the human rights or
I
whatever.
apologize for this,
I'm
y'all.
saying I don't agree with that shit at all.
I apologize for saying y'all. I didn't want to start
No,
running
no,
down
no, no,
names.
no, no. I was trying to say
But
that to you yesterday in the chat, Psycho. But when you say y'all, I just want you're speaking to Chef. You're not speaking to all of us. Because Chef thinks both.
it's not
Out of
just
all
Chef.
them four
It's not
niggas, Chef
just
thinks
Chef. It was multiple people, but I
call them
didn't
by
know everybody.
name. Call them niggas out.
All
Call
right,
them
well,
niggas out.
but the Civil War was not about liberating black people. Can we stop that lie? That's a whole lie. That white man didn't care nothing about no liberating white people. If we can get the union together and still have slavery, I'm cool. If we can get the union together and without slavery, I'm cool with that too. He didn't care. All he cared about was liberating this country, the white people in this country. He didn't care what happened to black people. It just so happened that shutting down slavery was liberating them to the industrial movement that was going on during that time, because the South was the ones that had all the wealth and everything else, and the North was trying to shut down the South. So it wasn't about them. They didn't have no kind hearts, all this liberation crap and everything else. No, it was a chess piece. It was a chess piece and a little silly ass game. That's all it was. I'm not giving them credit for nothing. I'm not going to sit up here and give somebody credit for shooting me, paralyzing me in the back, and then give them credit for taking me to the hospital. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I refuse.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's like
Go ahead,
running away
Elijah.
from real quick. That's like running away from the accountability of what was done. It's like instead of doing that, it's like I want to provide you this false Trojan horse opportunity when it really isn't an opportunity in the first place.
And go ahead, Logic. Now tell him I just said the same thing that Psycho said. Now tell him that he's wrong for saying shoot me in the back and then take me in the hospital, and then you
Well,
sitting by
well,
my deathbed saying
somewhere
thank you.
in this, I just acknowledge that it's very difficult to embrace all the facts at one time, right? Because I keep trying to emphasize that it's complex and that there's not like a simple answer. And I'm even like willing to dumb it down as far as to say they did more than Africans for human rights, right? So we can debate that part of it back and forth, but like to some degree, when we look inside like our own community, right? We were talking about what's his name, Harvey, right? If we were using the word like redeemable qualities for a whole week, right? So I'm not saying that I'm looking for redeemable qualities, but when we're having those conversations about Garvey, we're willing to accept some of the mistakes that he made, even though he's a scammer, right? So I'm not removing the fact that he's a scammer, but if we're talking about like a cultural icon as far as the progress of human rights across the world, well, I'm just acknowledging that they play a role. You know what I'm saying? I mean, beyond that, I feel like this is like maybe a little bit of spin on top of that, or like to eat a little crow because my argument's a lot closer to what Chef's is than other people's. But I don't see why that's so problematic. You know what I'm saying? If we can understand that we don't, that even our leaders on sometimes we have
Your shit chopped up, bro.
That shit bugging, nigga. Hey,
Your shit chopped up, Logic.
Let me say something. Moreno, I'm
you
break just a
can't
second.
say anything because you bugging.
Yeah, said he would call that crackatosis. That's what you doing. Crackatosis.
Many of us don't have enough knowledge of history to agree with Chef. Even on the African front, when the Africans became independent in the 60s, they look at the track records of the early African leaders and how they were promoting human rights in their country until many of these countries were destabilized. Just go back in history, look at the first presidents of most African countries and how they were promoting human rights within their countries before their countries were destabilized. I argue with Chef on this because there's no way anybody can agree with what Chef said. It is inconceivable because I make the same argument that Blas made, that psychopath made. We make the same arguments because we see history. These people were not liberators, and the abuse didn't stop. They just changed it. It evolved. It evolved, right? It evolved. It's just like how the IMF is a yoke around most third world black countries' neck. It's the same thing they did. They find a way how to bleed resources from these countries, different ways, but we don't take that into consideration. Which liberators? Anyway, continue. But I'm listening. I enjoy the show.
And you know what's funny, Stupies? So Chef just said that it wasn't grace, okay? That it wasn't grace that France granted Haiti. But let me tell you the liberation that they granted Haiti. I would agree that literally off the coast of Haiti, they had ships that would have leveled Haiti if they didn't, I don't know the words to use for that, but I would agree. Back the fuck down, or we'll level this bitch. That was the words that he used.
Last one of you.
Yeah. That was his words that he used.
Yeah, they did
But
that.
you know
After
what's funny though,
they got
Psycho?
their armies back together and everything else. Because, like you said, they spread themselves way too thin. That's what happened to Napoleon. Spread himself way too thin. That's why he had to give up the island of Haiti, because he couldn't afford to send any more soldiers over there because he had too much stuff going on. And then it also forced the Louisiana Purchase to happen as well.
Right. They use the threat of,
you can also
to get the
argue
money.
that black people. So basically, you can make an argument that black people liberated this country because they helped manifest destiny get involved. They helped the
Essentially.
whole process
Yeah.
of manifest destiny, and it's because
Yep.
black people helped weaken their finances to the point where they actually had to sell all this land over here.
Essentially. But hold on, Psycho, we in agreement. But you know what's funny? But Chef will also then in turn, because I'm learning that you got to listen to Chef's words and remove him from the argument. Remove him. Because if they're sitting off the coast, if you're going to say the liberation, how the hell are you actually freeing me if you got cannons on my ass? If the liberation that you saying that you giving me from this slavery is under threat of 150 million francs with fucking boats at the ship, and then say they evolved morally, then they would have just recognized Haiti's freedom outright. They wouldn't have needed the 150 million francs. And then on top of that, they wouldn't have had to use guns to do it. They wouldn't have had to force ships and cannons and shit at Haiti in order to force them to be free. You see how the paradox of how that don't make sense? We gonna give you motherfuckers y'all freedom, but y'all gonna give us these 150 million francs that we know you can't afford. And then if you don't give us the 150 million francs for your freedom that we about to give you, we gonna level y'all. And y'all want me to call them motherfuckers liberators and champions of human rights? On both sides of the argument, it don't make sense. Even when he say something that's cool, but y'all just caught up in the, we gonna level this bitch. Like, it's the funniest statement ever, but forget that he's talking about human rights and liberation. This shit is madness, bro. This is chef madness, literally. Use that as a drop, nigga, for the YouTube. This is chef madness at its finest.
I want to know, do black people owe white people reparations since they so great and they freed us from slavery? I really would like to answer that question.
Give Chef a day, he'll make an argument that they do. Give him a day.
Black people owe what? Because based on these
No,
arguments,
we don't owe
white man,
reparations.
we totally owe him reparations based off these arguments.
Nobody gonna come out there and say that, Psycho.
Yeah, I don't know.
That never was the argument. That never was a position. Like, so I mean, I don't know how I move to, to now defend the United States not to pay reparations because I said that Western civilization has been, the ones who has been moving humanity forward in liberation and humanitarian. Like, why would I say that they don't, need to pay reparations? Like, I always believed in reparations. Like, I'm not gonna make that argument.
You know what I mean? I'm standing where I'm standing at. You feel me? And France pulling and France
Isn't that
pulling
what
back
happened?
up.
But is it speaking of the Haitian Revolution? Isn't that what happened with France though? Like black people had to pay white people reparations. That's what happened, right? You literally just broke it down, right? They came back X amount of years later and said, "Yo, y'all fucked us up with this little bullshit y'all did over here. Y'all owe us."
Yeah, they forced
And they
it.
had to pay.
They forced that on them. You feel me? Now, if we can enforce that on the United States, then go for it. You feel? I'm with it. You feel me? But I don't think we're in a position of force. You know what I mean? And I don't think that was. I don't think that France making them pay was right anyway. Like I don't even agree with that.
You called it
So
liberation, though.
no, Brad. The Haitian Revolution got mixed into the argument, right? My overall position is that Western civilization, that was my position. Now, to argue intricacies in that and start talking about the Haitian Revolution does not detract from my point. You feel me? Because before Napoleon came back into power, France had abolished slavery. So that's just a bloop in that shit. You feel me? That's just a bloop. That's why I'm not even arguing with y'all over the Haiti shit. I just said the
Wait,
only
what
thing
the
I
fuck
said
did you just? What did you just say?
that's a blip. If if France had already abolished slavery, then Napoleon came back into power and reinstated slavery, right? And went to war with them motherfuckers. That's something completely different.
Who is no?
That don't
Who
take
is
away from the
Napoleon
old.
though?
He was French.
So why you try to separate Napoleon from France?
Yo, all right, bro. I'm all right. I'm gonna let
No,
you have it.
you just said no.
I
You
don't
just said France
listen. If
abolished
you don't, if
slavery,
listen,
and then you
if
said
you don't,
Napoleon brought it back. But
right.
he's
So
the fucking. What is he?
if you don't understand the point
I
that I
do
was
understand
making,
it. No,
all right,
don't.
then. So
That's
why
not.
would
That don't
you
work.
say that
That
then?
don't work. That don't work.
How that gonna work with my overall
Because
argument?
France is still part of the Western civilization, though.
Yes,
Now
and
here's the thing: Napoleon
one
ain't wait,
emperor
and
decided
Napoleon
to bring that shit
Napoleon
back.
because Napoleon didn't live forever. That 150 million francs they've been paying that shit for 100 years. So where is the liberation with the people outside of Napoleon?
Listen, I
At
didn't
what
say that they
point
were
did France
perfect,
realize that?
bro.
At what point in the 150 million franc indemnity from Haiti to France? Take Napoleon out of it. I'll give you that argument. He was acting outside and against the majority of French interests at the time. I understand that part. But what I'm saying to you is them 150 million francs, I can't remove France from that. And that's 100 years later. Still. How do I remove them from that? You can't. You
I'm
can't
not
just say because
arguing that.
Napoleon brought it back up. Then where was France's morals after Napoleon was defeated? After Napoleon was defeated, then how come at any point in the next 100 years did they not say that the 150 million? If France was so moral in their abolishment of slavery and it was just Napoleon acting out, then why the fuck did they continue with the 150 million francs 100 years later?
Didn't I say that this liberation and everything was an evolution? I keep saying that it didn't all come at one time, but we're looking at stages of it. I ain't say that they was fucking angels. I ain't say that it wasn't contradictions in it at times. Like, when did I ever make that argument? When? So you doing a good
Because you
job.
can't make the good.
You doing a good job attacking one point like I'm standing on that. That's some shit I ain't even standing on. I'm
You're
standing
standing
on
on
what I'm standing on.
because you're standing on Western civilization as the greatest
With
liberation. Hold
contradictions.
on,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
with
tell you
contradictions.
specifically what I'm attacking. You're saying that Western civilization is the greatest liberators. I'm telling you, they never liberated anything. They'll do something, call it liberation, and do something else to you right after that. That'll put you right back in the situation, and then somehow they'll fix that, and then they'll put you back in a situation, rename it, and somehow fix that. I don't think they've ever liberated anyone. That's one. That's the liberation point. Two, when you keep saying, you keep using these words, they're the greatest champion. of human rights in history. So when you say that you're not saying they were angels, fuck it. You ain't calling them angels, but you said they're the greatest champion of human rights. And I'm calling bullshit every time you say that. Because they're not no fucking champion. A champion, or whatever you want to call it, if I ain't talking about no angels, they do that shit because you're supposed to do it. They don't say, well, we should end slavery in the South, but they do got a lot of agriculture there, and we'll be afraid that they'd have to pay those good white folk to work that kind. And we'll figure this out. Britain, we're the largest transatlantic slave owned. We were the largest members of the transatlantic slave trade. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start paying the slave owners and for them to stop. We're gonna pay them. When it's morals, bro, you say fuck that industry, bro. Fuck the industry is morally wrong. End it. And if it bankrupts them motherfuckers, then they deserve it. You don't use morals in
That's why
something
they
like
ended
that.
it to bankrupt them. That's why they ended it. They didn't do it because of morals. They didn't
This
do
is
it.
ignorant, bro.
They did.
You talking about champions?
No
This
higher.
shit crazy.
Self-esteem ain't getting no higher, y'all. I apologize, but it's just not, because we still haven't showed who went around other than Western civilization, who was sprinkling more freedom on motherfuckers than the white man.
When y'all say
I
that,
still ain't heard that yet.
when y'all say that, what y'all really saying is white Jesus is the biggest liberator in the history of whatever, because that's what was being used to quote unquote liberate everybody, right? How they get the Indians to stop eating each other out in South America? The Bible. How did the movements and everything else start to get the got the Emancipation Proclamation signed? How did that happen? The Bible, abolitionists, right? Like abolition, like that was mainly Bible believers at the time. This, that, and third. John Brown, Bible believer. You know, like what y'all talking about is white Jesus. That's what y'all talking about. White. So if y'all want to say white Jesus is the greatest liberator,
Y'all want to give it another name? Okay, yeah, go ahead. I ain't mad at who the name is, right? We're talking about Western society though. Like, so whether they brought Jesus with them or Mahatma Gandhi with them, it don't matter. They went around the world doing the most sprinkling of liberation and freedom. That's the argument. Like, I'm not
now
talk about Haiti and France and everybody else, but
now
I'm trying to figure out who other than them was running around the world sprinkling freedom on niggas. Because that's the argument. That's the argument that y'all ain't addressing.
But that's not freedom though, because Psycho made a good point.
Corey, so you didn't hear nothing
Going
but
back down the same road again. I done heard
you
that
didn't hear nothing
argument.
but
It's hard to hear you. It's hard to hear you.
Cuban, your mic is low, bro. You gotta get off the speaker.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
He can
No,
hear
I
you a
hear
little bit
you.
better now.
Yeah, but we're
Else
not
talking about.
So
the same. He got this shit. They don't hear nothing nobody say.
Psycho made a good point. He said that the freedom was via through a white Jesus, right? So
fine.
But here's the thing, right?
Fine.
I mean, that really was because they believed that they needed salvation, that they were savages, they were barbaric, they were uncivilized, the same way they thought about indigenous people. So the only way to be accepted in their eyes was to embrace the white Jesus, be it Catholicism or the Protestants. So here's the fucked up shit. You say fine.
So who outdid them then? Give me the group of people.
But I'm trying to show you
who did more sprinkling freedom than the white man. Go ahead. That's all I'm waiting on.
They ain't gonna do it.
I've heard all the other arguments that y'all made. I listened to it for 2 days.
But this is
you're gonna make an argument that they made yesterday.
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna lead up to what you asking. So, if an individual did not accept Jesus, what was the consequences for that? Death. Death was the consequence, whether it was from the Protestant,
Catholic.
It's
So
down to lay down.
is
Yeah.
it
My self-esteem going lower and lower, bro. Y'all ain't
hold on?
doing nothing for my self-esteem right now. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that you live to see another day because you are forced to accept something, but yet you're still not free, and you're still not accepted. So at this point, it's a thing of, are you cool with living like that, or under them circumstances, would you rather just go all out, dying standing versus dying on your
No,
now?
yeah, and
Yo,
I'm gonna make
yo,
a
yo,
suggestion.
yo, yo,
The,
can
the,
y'all hear
the
me?
way
Yo,
people are
yo,
using free and
1 2 1
liberated,
2. Hold on one
that
second.
don't line up with
Yo, hold
nobody's
on one
ever.
Mike
second.
goes
So,
asking for the mic.
You,
if we not in the
Mike goes
greatest,
asking for the mic.
we
Let
not
me
if
use
we
it.
in the
you,
greatest
Go ahead,
country
Lottie.
ever,
I don't think
and
Lottie can hear you.
we still don't got the social freedoms,
I just want
oh,
to
and we still don't got social freedoms, and we still can't consider ourselves free or liberated. Well, then there wasn't nobody free or liberated ever.
yo,
So
yo,
maybe
yo,
we
yo,
should
hold on.
find better words.
so
Hold
the
on one
point I would
second. Oh,
what I just
Cuban, hold
Hey,
on
hey,
one second.
Cuban, wait.
Cuban,
Cuban, wait. Let
Cuban,
him
hold
go.
on one second. Hey, whoever's watching on YouTube, the Discord link is in the chat. Please join the Discord. Come in here, straighten these brothers and sisters out on what the hell they talking about. And I just want to read one thing to Corey, since Corey like simple explanations. I'll just read this for Corey. First, I want to say the brass, hey, they loosened up the chokehold so they can get a tighter grip. And I'm just going to read this to Corey. No, Europeans did not go around the world giving people freedom. And by Europeans, we're talking about Western culture. So let's just be clear there. European colonialism and imperialism are overwhelmingly recognized by historians as systems of conquest, exploitation, not liberation. European powers use their superior military technology to invade, conquer, and rule territories for their own economic, political, and strategic benefit, often with devastating consequences for the colonized people. And I'm out. Don't forget, y'all, join the Discord if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks.
Hey, yeah, his DQ had asked me for some stats yesterday on Appalachia, and I looked those up, right? And afterwards, I did just a little slight overview, just like you did, of the conversation. And that's what Google said. It said, "Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit." like, nah, nigga, they was
If
none
we're
of that
not
shit.
free and liberated now, then nobody
I
was
don't
ever
think
free and liberated.
I'm not impressed with that. I'm not impressed with that.
I know. I'm just saying though. That's what
Under their
Google
rules,
said though,
under their
Corey.
laws, under their gods, under their culture, everything else. How we liberated?
So
we literally had to assimilate ourselves, lose our whole identity, everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if we're not liberated now, like what would be the proper scenario in which you could describe people as being liberated?
They're being exploited. That's the new term. They're
I
being
agree.
exploited.
We're also being exploited.
Exactly.
Right.
Exploitation. Yeah.
Right. So how far back do we have to go to find the minority people who aren't being exploited? Where do we go find that?
Who looking for it?
But it's getting.
Well, you would have to have an example of some liberated.
No. You need an example because y'all the one said that they liberated everybody. So how is everybody being exploited?
What I'm saying is if this doesn't fit the definition of liberated, then nothing does.
If they liberated everybody, why are people still being exploited?
The word liberation is subjective. People will tell you whether or not they liberated, right? Like, because at the end of the day, like, was Cuba liberated when Batista went down and Castro took over? Was they liberated? That's subjective, depending on who you talking to, right? What was the Indians? Was the Indian Native Americans here? Was they liberated when they got the Bible shoved down their throat and all those missionaries and everything else, and they forced them to learn all their culture and everything else? Was that liberation? That's subjective. Like, we're calling it liberation because this is the morality codes and society that we grew up under. So that's how we look at the world. We're looking at the world through their lenses. So we looking at it as liberation. Those people wouldn't tell you that they was liberated. Those natives back then wouldn't tell you that. Like, do you think they would tell you that? When those conquistadors came down there,
No, so
You had
I'm
liberation
literally offering you the perfect
and you had
example.
freedom, though. Hold on, let me get this one out. Right? If you you can go with Uncle and them and go in the cemetery and cut chickens open and practice any religion and that you want to in life. Meaning you're the one who's choosing to still be a Christian. We the ones who choosing, you know what I mean? But you're free to do whatever you want to do.
The conquistadors came down there. That wasn't the
You
case.
can go live
When the
off the
conquistadors
land
came
if you
down
wanted
there,
to.
that wasn't the case.
But this was based on a question that Corey asked that was past tense, asking who liberated Africans. And he's going with Western society. So so based on its past tense, I mean, the people liberated themselves. The people are the ones who did what they did to get where they are, whatever that may deem as good or whatever. It wasn't the government. It was people who fought and struggled and persevered and sacrificed. That's the liberation. But it's an ongoing process. It's not an overnight thing. If people have been colonized and or displaced and colonized, imperialized, and all these things for hundreds of years, it's not going to be a 3-year plan. It's not going to be a 400-year plan that you're going to do to achieve this liberation, because the mentality is still going to be there. People are now indoctrinated, so now you got to deal with that shit. So it's not simple, but it's not no goddamn government that or anybody in those powers that liberated anybody. That's the thing. I think that.
So now you're saying we're not even liberated, we're not free. Y'all see what y'all them recruiting?
I'm basing off the
Yeah,
question.
that's where we at now. We're not even free now. So if we're not free now, which minority group are you going to say ever was free? If our social liberties don't equate to us having freedom, like that's why I'm saying we might need to find a different word, because at that point,
I'm not even
nobody was fit.
willing to argue that with them. I'm not even.
Nobody was. Like, I'm trying to get y'all's definition of it, because would nobody fit that definition?
I wouldn't take it that.
I wouldn't
Here
say
comes
that.
the black. Here comes the
Yeah,
black
I wouldn't
cloud.
take it that far.
The black cloud is this. While we're sitting here concerned with whether it's a particular ethnic group or we're concerned with humanity, it's bigger than humans. Everybody's subjected, and there's no fucking. Is nature liberated? You do know there's environmental.
That's what I'm saying, bro. We need some different words, bro. I'm telling you.
There's environmental colonization. So what I'm saying is that these people that do what they do for the money, everything that breathes, that's alive.
Y'all had me
That nigga
for
say
30
environmental colonization. Environmental.
They made me go back on my heels for 30 seconds, and now I realize that I'm completely right.
Because this is what happens when you've been trapped in a bubble.
Jeff, the trees ain't even liberated no more, Jeff.
Listen, do they not destroy rainforests? Does the trees not produce oxygen? Do we not need water?
Y'all niggas doing too much. Y'all don't even have to do this much.
No.
Why do y'all? I think Psycho conceded. I think Psycho conceded already. But y'all didn't hear it. Specifically, for this arguments, because we all ain't making the same argument. So don't that y'all shit. You trying to? I ain't brought up a tree, but then somehow or another in my argument, y'all talking about y'all. That's Cuban.
But nobody.
Yeah, that's what y'all all saying.
No, I'm the one that said it, Brass. I'm the one that said it, Brass. And if you want me to change it, I'll change it. The Cubans doing too much. That's fine. I'm just saying,
No,
where we going with
Cuban
that?
understand what y'all really want to say.
Cuban's smart. I don't want to cut him off. Let me let him finish. My bad, Cuban.
I don't need a fucking attorney or somebody to speak for me. I can tell you what the fuck I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that this thing you talk about liberation and freedom and oppression and all these things. This this is why things continue to be the way it continues. Is because man does not learn the mistakes of what it's done in the past. And it continues to happen and it recycles. And it comes in different shape, forms, and fashions. And we see different events and we see different people and different players and different things that happen. But in that, nature is also subjected. So y'all laughing and think I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, or you can clearly look up environmental colonialism, environmental colonization. It'll explain to you what it is. And it's a very serious thing. But we are so concerned with just our mere selves and not realize it's a bigger picture. And this is why everything's interconnected and one thing affects the other. So while we're sitting here distracted about fucking a guy who likes another man's nut on his nipples, fucking puffy, and that's the fucking conversation. Yeah, that's what he likes. That's what he likes. That's according to the male escorts. You can watch the interviews on Flag TV. They talked about this. What the fuck he likes. So while people are concerned with that dumb shit, are concerned with whatever dumb shit, but there's other things going on, like fucking Jimmy Kimmel, right? His freedom of speech is taken, right? Meanwhile, fucking files have not been addressed about pedophilia. Meanwhile, what's not being addressed is things that's going on in other places globally that's affecting these places and these people and these things, but it's also affecting the people here, but yet these people say they care about their nation. But you're affecting the nation economically. You're affecting your nation.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing real quick?
You can say what it really is and what these niggas really saying. I appreciate you, Q.
So
Sure.
that's why.
Can I say something real quick though? I just want to say I heard what Psycho said, and I think he conceded, but we went right past it, right? So he's saying it's not the white man per se, but it's white Jesus. White Jesus done the most freedom sprinkling around the world. And listen, I'm saying that don't make me feel no better. That don't make my self-esteem go up no higher, Psycho. Because we changed the name from the white man to white Jesus.
I'm putting the proper term on what y'all was saying, because that's basically what y'all was saying. Because that's what they was using to do this quote unquote liberation and everything else, right? Like I said, they kept telling everybody that wasn't living around like them was immoral. They had to get down with their morality codes, and that's the Bible. Right, like that's what it is, right? Like now, this country is a little bit different, but when we talking about, our quote unquote, the white man liberating us in this country, that got to do with economics. Period. That ain't had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, we're talking the global, and then that's another thing I keep hearing y'all like change the going from one spot to another, but we talking in a global aspect. You know what I'm saying? So.
But then, you got to talk about white.
I think we ought to keep the arguments in that realm. Yeah.
Walmart. I'll just wait till you get back.
Beat out Logic.
When you get back, I'm gonna go up there.
Beat out Logic.
All right. Your black ass get fired, but you get liberated live.
You're free. You're free to go out there in the world. You ain't got to
God's gonna liberate his ass.
Me being a whole heathen over here. Me being a whole heathen over here, I don't deem them forcing people to believe in the Bible as liberation. That's just me. That's just a different type of slavery that they putting people under. That's just me, but that's how I see the world. So, I don't necessarily to say they liberating people. I feel like they're putting people in different types of chains.
Yeah, I couldn't get past that. I couldn't get past that, Psycho. And Chef, I'm gonna tell you where I am with it.
I don't even know what y'all talking about.
Nah, just from the conversation yesterday, bro. Like I I was getting where you were coming from yesterday, right? And I was kind of agreeing, right? But man, when Brass dropped that shit about them just changing the same shit the Psycho saying right now, I can't get past that, bro. I just can't. Like I can't do it, man. I
Can
can't
I take
call it a
another
dream.
moment?
There's a difference because there's a difference between legal freedom and true freedom.
Yeah.
So when y'all talking about freedom, that's why these words, everybody keep telling me the words ain't important. Liberating, champion, the human rights and all of that.
Oh, I
The
know they're
words
important.
y'all,
That's why I'm asking you to change it. But go
the
ahead. I'm
words
sorry.
the words that everybody's using are very important because when we throwing around free, you got to understand that you cannot call the 13th Amendment true freedom or
Yeah.
legal freedom. If you say
Right.
I'm free unless you commit a crime and then commence to over policing me and say you got rights, but if you go to jail, you got no rights, and then you introduce the slave codes and you start over policing me, and then in 2025 you mass incarcerate me, then what the fuck is you calling freedom, bro?
Yeah.
So what do you
That,
so what true and legal freedom when y'all keep talking about white people walking around sprinkling liberation? All it is pressure, revolt, and then some kind of control. They've never relinquished any kind of control in these situations. They're always gonna have control. It might be control that you feel immediately would get your ass down there and pick up that cotton. Or it might be control rebranded as reconstruction and sharecropping, or it might be it's never going to be a situation so far that I've seen where where the systems, the structures, and the dominant institutions of any given time have relinquished control. And it damn sure wasn't because of no fucking morals.
And
It's
that's the key
always
thing you
been a
just said,
situation like
control.
that.
I always tell
Okay,
people
now
all the time
so who outdone
when
them?
people try to say white people trying to annihilate us and wipe us off the face of the earth, I always disagree with them on that. White people are not trying to kill off black people.
No, I'm
They're
not
going to
talking about white
do what
people.
they always try to do throughout the course of history, and that's control us. That's
Yeah.
they go.
use us.
They go always
Use
been
us.
to try to control us, never been to try to wipe us out, never been to try to eliminate us. They always try to control us. They control freaks. They try to control
Right.
everything. And we're no
Yeah.
different. And that's why I have a hard time saying they freed us and everything else. It's just like Brass just said, it's all about control. They still controlled us, even though we wasn't in chains.
I think that's a bit more that human element, right? That I think that's a bit more of you see oppression as far back as you can see it. You know what I'm saying? I like of course the challenge is definitely still out there to present another people group that did more. But you know what I'm saying? And I also feel like we're also having to compare this to like it wasn't that long ago where niggas just cut your arm off if you was stealing some and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers was fucked up. So coming out of that, I mean it's difficult to swallow. I get it, pause. But like it would have to be progress. So what would progress from get your arm cut off and you not having no rights and you just being subjugated based on your ethnic group? Like what would be progress compared to that? I mean, just an inch of progress. I mean, I don't know. I don't even because like y'all probably gonna attack me on the word progress now. You know what I'm saying? But like, what would you describe the forward movement from the old way of people doing stuff, and who facilitated that new way? I mean, I'm just I feel like it's simple. It's a simple question, and I get why the answer's hard, but y'all just don't want to say it.
I just when y'all
What the
start
fuck
talking
is
about
you
champions of
talking
human
about?
rights and liberation, I just need y'all to show anytime. Now y'all put the onus on us and y'all talking about y'all self-esteem and all this other shit. Self-esteem is esteem of yourself. I can't help you with that. But what I'm gonna tell you is that when y'all talk about the Western civilization sprinkling liberation and freedom all over the place, I need you to show me at a time where institution or structure or system was not it's still in control after this liberation that was sprinkled.
But no, the challenge is for y'all to show a group who did more.
More what? My question is they didn't actually do any fucking
Liberation.
thing at all. They didn't do anything. They didn't
Your
do
own people,
anything.
Well, whatever they didn't do, can you show another group who did it better?
Man, this
yes,
is madness, bro. This is madness, bro.
logic,
This is
your own
madness,
people,
bro.
your
Jesus
own people
Christ.
did
Whatever they didn't do,
This
can
is
we see
sickening, man.
somebody else who did it better?
Yes, logic, your
Who
own
did
people,
oppression better?
your own people did a better job since you want to say the people in power liberated Africans. Africans are the ones. Black people here are the ones. They did. Harriet Tubman. Did any of those English dudes? Did
That's
any of them guys?
those are Western. Those are people in Western civilization.
That would be Western civilization.
How did they get there? The logic. How did those
Well,
people that are in Western
they
civilization
there.
get there?
Well, they walked
Well,
across
But
the
they're
Bering
there.
Strait.
So Logic, let me ask you something. Where is a koala bear from? Where's a koala bear from?
Bro, can
If you took the koala bear and you put the koala bear in Minnesota, is the koala bear now North American? No, it's Australian.
Ooh, okay.
So just because a person
I didn't
came
know
from
that's where
Africa,
you was going, but that was good.
it went to a
that was
place,
good.
right? And now they're not African.
I don't understand.
Says who?
I'm trying to say, but bro, in Africa, how many Martin Luther Kings do you think Africa had? Where you had people standing up and saying this ain't right, and the people in Africa are like fuck that shit. Why am I saying wild shit that they didn't have Africans who cared about it?
You just said how many African? You just said how many Martin Luther Kings was it in Africa?
They had to have some.
You act like
I'm saying that they had to have people advocating for human rights in Africa. They had to.
How much
Human rights is the only one that's got a point so far.
It was
You're the only one that made a good point. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was a good point.
No, it's not. Corey just choosing to die with Chef.
No,
that's all he doing. Chef must have texted him in the background and said, "Here go the mountain. We both gonna die. Let's both die on this hill." That's all that's going on.
I'm not even in the car with
I can't believe you. I can't believe you. Corey, I can't believe you right now. That's all.
Nah, nigga.
What'd you say?
It really.
If I was in the back seat, I'm jumping out before we reach the edge of the cliff, bro. I don't know if I can go. Yeah, go ahead.
Logic, I'm asking you, why do you feel the need that you have to ask the question, who did a better job? Why can't it be your own people did a great job?
Because I'm saying we did, and I'm saying that would be considered Western civilization.
Nobody's fucking topped it, my friend. So there you go. I
don't understand your point.
The point I'm doing is however things are, how everything played out.
It
is what it is at this point, right? It's fucked up. However, your own people are the ones that did the best. There was nobody else.
Right.
So when I brought up Harriet Tubman, I'm saying nobody was going the extra 50 fucking miles to liberate her people into what she deemed as freedom.
Can you show me where white people, quote unquote, liberated somewhere where they didn't acquire land or power?
You can't,
or didn't cause destabilization.
No. Guess what, psycho? You can't. But you know what they're gonna say? That's liberation, though.
That's not
liberation.
The argument. That's conquering. That's conquering.
No. To them, that's liberation. That's what they call liberation.
That's what we're saying on the panel, right? Well, not everybody, but you get my point. Like, that's what people are saying on the panel.
Yeah, that's what they're calling liberation. That's why my argument is that there's never been an actual liberation. Hold on. And then they'll fucking make it hilarious, because then it'll be like, well, I guess that we ain't never been free. Is that the new argument now? Like, come on, bro. What the fuck are y'all? Y'all determined to misunderstand people bringing points to y'all. So if you determined to misunderstand it, I'm not gonna try to keep making you understand.
I'm not determined to misunderstand it. I keep saying that y'all got a good point, but I keep saying both things can be true. They did all that shit. They did both of them. They started it and they did the most to stop the shit.
But they never stopped. No. Okay, listen. In your sentence, you said they started it and they did the most to stop it. My argument is that they never stopped it.
They never stopped it.
They started it, and then they just kept it going and rebranding it as something else. It was slavery, then it was apprenticeship. They never stopped. So when you're saying that they're championing human rights, they don't give a fuck about the humans. When you're saying that they're liberating
if they
people, they
never
never
stopped,
stop.
right? See, like this is where y'all would accuse me of being hyperbolic, right? Because if they never stopped, then what is my current status as an American?
Under control.
So you're right. So that's where y'all would be like, "Oh, I'm being hyperbolic." Well, I would
No,
say,
I'm
"Well, I
not being
don't feel like no
hyperbolic.
slaves."
No,
I'm saying that's
hyperbolic.
where y'all would accuse me of being, right? Because that's where I would go
hyperbolic.
off and say, "So what you're saying is
hyperbolic would be saying that we've never been free. We ain't free now. Look at us. We can go outside and do whatever we want to do." No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to ever say, "Oh, we ain't never been free." But explain to me how them people felt after slavery, how we felt after slavery when they told us, you know what, good, you could slave crop for us now. Or shit, or convict leasing. Yeah, you're going to feel a little better, but then after a while, you're going to realize, like, man, what the fuck? Because if sharecropping and Reconstruction was okay, then we wouldn't have had to go for civil rights.
All we have to do.
Hold on, Psycho. If mass incarceration was okay, we wouldn't say nothing about it. But we know that they over-policed us, and we know in the 13th Amendment, when they was giving us this freedom that y'all keep talking about, when they tell you you free unless you get locked up and then over-police and mass incarcerate, you may be free, but it ain't the liberation that y'all niggas talking about. It ain't no fucking champion of human rights that y'all niggas is talking about.
the only comparison I'm making is that our civil rights are better than niggas in Africa. I keep trying to say that. Like I gotta have a backdrop of comparing where I'm at to where other shit is at.
And then go start.
It's because I haven't moved my point.
Talking about Africa. They're not even talking about what you're talking about.
I'm not even talking about
you
Africa.
Somehow trying to prove the point that Africans, devoid of white people, wouldn't have been able to govern themselves. I don't even want to have that conversation with you, Logic.
I ain't say govern themselves, but they did not want to stop enslaving other ethnic groups. They did not want to stop that.
Why do you know they spell history?
You know why? That's because they follow those spooky face better than the white man. That's why. Because they actually believe that stuff they read.
Yeah, bro. The people that write the victors to the victors go to spoils.
If we're gonna have that conversation, we can have that conversation.
Yeah, that's
but I thought that was the core of the argument is that we would have to have a comparison, right? In order for us to judge that our society has moved, I would have to compare it to a society.
In order for somebody to liberate somebody, they got to be doing it not without any goal of getting anything in return. You gotta be.
I get that. I'm not the guy on morality.
Quote unquote liberated anybody and didn't get nothing out of it.
I'm not the guy on morality.
I just don't understand why you keep bringing up Africa.
So let me explain it. I'm saying just like in the other conversation about Naeem, right? You have, in order for me to compare how I'm supposed to act, I would need an example of where you're getting. This is how I'm supposed to act. Right. So if I'm using our society and I'm calling it progress, I'm saying that I can see progress in our society from the African society. So the comparison is necessary so I can judge if there's progress in either mine or theirs. So I'm saying that our system, whether we struggle to call it better, whether we struggle to call it liberation, I would definitely consider our freedoms. I would say that I would prefer that over Africa.
Of course you would.
However it got,
you were born in the United States. Of course you would.
That's subjective. You was born here. Of course
you don't know what it's like. You don't know anything about Africa. You ain't never been. Only thing you know is what you read. You don't know anything about it. You keep saying like, and that's why I'm confused as to why you keep going to Africa. Because of course you as an American,
because I can read that they still do slavery in
it.
Which country? Like it's 54 countries.
Ghana's one of them.
Why do you act like Africa is one place?
Discrepancy.
It's on Wikipedia. You can look up
Africa is
modern
a
day
con-
slavery
logic.
right now.
Logic.
If you
Wait,
look at
Psycho.
if you're trying to compare
Africa
bad
is a
things, and
continent.
you take
Logic.
this
I'm
Are
one
you a
bad
about to
thing,
get it for
you
you.
will
I'm about to
find
get it for you right
54
now.
bad things, and you say there's 54 bad things over here is more than this one bad thing over here. I mean, obviously the map is like.
Africa
That's
is
why
a
I said, which
continent.
country are you talking about?
You keep holding Africa as a continent to the same status as somebody else. Africa got 54 United States in it.
Bro, if I'm ever gonna use a word like better, it requires a comparison. I don't know if you know that or not.
Which country are you
But
talking
how are
about?
you comparing the United States
Well,
as a
I just
country
pulled
to the
it up.
continent of Africa?
I just pulled it up, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's just about this. This is about why Africa. I mean, why not Asia?
It's just you keep going to Africa. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I'm asking.
We talk
You
about
keep
Asia.
saying
I mean, we could talk about Asia. I'm just used to
no, we
using
probably
Africa.
could.
It's
I'm
really
trying to
for
figure out why you
no
keep saying
specific
Africa.
reason. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm
really
trying
for no
yeah.
specific reason.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no specific reason. I could be asking y'all that the Asian countries do more than white people. I'm just saying the word Africa.
And then on top of that logic,
I brought up modern day slavery because I know it's existing in Africa. That was purposeful.
Okay.
But Africa is a continent. Why are you holding countries within Africa to the same standard that you hold the United States as like Africa is a continent. You can't say
I'm reading it right now, and I'm going to give you the specificity that you're asking for.
Yeah, that's a mistake that we often do, Brass. It seems that like we try to compare Africa to the United States like it's a fucking country.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
And it's dangerous.
If we gonna do Asia, did the Ming Dynasty liberate the Mongols?
I couldn't tell you. You got to educate me on that one, brother. I'm out of that one. I can't.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I would love to say yeah, but I don't know what the hell you talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I'm just being real,
like,
Psycho.
Because I'm saying because based off this logic, if you conquer an area and you indoctrinate the local people with your culture, then you liberated them. That's pretty much what they're saying, because that's what the white man has done historically, and that's what they're calling liberation.
And don't forget they're championing. Don't forget that they're also championing their human rights while they're doing it. Hilarious, bro.
Petty wants to be unmuted, Brad.
Do you know what people would think about the United States if they treated all the states within the United States as a fucking country? As if you would say, well, they killing motherfuckers in Chicago. And you would be like, well, the United States can't say the rest about the rest of the United States, bro.
Right. I got you. Let me read this so we can get off the African part. I don't want no, that way it ain't me being general no more, right? Slavery in the Sahel region, to a lesser extent, the Horn of Africa, exists along the racial and cultural boundary of Arabized Berbers in the north and darker Africans in the south. Slavery in the Sahel states of Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, and Sudan in particular continues centuries-old pattern of hereditary servitude. Other forms of traditional slavery exist in parts of Ghana, Benin, Togo, and Nigeria. There are other non-traditional forms of slavery in Africa today, mostly involving human trafficking and other enslavement of child soldiers and child laborers. Human trafficking in Angola, and human trafficking of children from Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Gabon, and Cameroon. So it listed a couple of them today.
Okay, all right. Now, did they say why that slavery is going on? Google why that's happening, and we watch how this go full circle. Google why this happening.
I mean, you could. No, I'm not gonna fight you on why. I'm sure colonialism has something to do with it, but they do it.
No. It's
you can explain it.
It's the Abrahamic faith. It's the Abrahamic faith. That's why they're doing it. You can Google that.
You could attribute that to colonialism. I'm following what you're saying.
The argument would make more sense though if now get away from now ask about human trafficking in the United States and Western civilization.
Okay,
ask about it.
No, make your point. I'm listening to
No,
you. I'm
but
not
that would
like
be my point. You that would make sense if the slavery you talking about and the trafficking of humans didn't take place anywhere else, but talk about the human trafficking in Western civilization. It's just rebranded. If you take a human, strip them of their rights, and just fucking steal everything from them, what's the difference, bro? What's the difference? What's the difference if you just selling humans to other nations and to other people? So like it's the same shit. What
They're
is
not
they got you so
well.
they got
So
you
if
so
it's the
stuck on
same shit,
no, but they got you so
they're
stuck
not
on the
I
word
run
comfortable.
back
slavery.
full circle into that, like, so nobody is free again,
No, I know you keep using the word free. I'm very specific in my
or
language.
nobody is something. I don't know
No
what
one
the
is
right
not
word
under
is.
control. They don't
Okay.
give you liberation without control. So it ain't liberation. You ain't liberating me from anything. All you did, if you just Logic, if I told you you can't eat no more apples, bro. What if I told you, Logic, all you can eat is apples for a week? And then you like, man, this is tough. And the whole week you telling me it's tough. And then at the end of the week, I say, you know what, Logic? I agree. Eating apples is tough. Now all you can eat is oranges. Did I liberate you, bro? No.
I
You're
mean,
still under my control.
from
What you
from
do is
apples.
under my control. It just ain't apples no more. Now it's oranges. If 100 years from now I stop you after eating oranges and you're a vitamin C Avenger superhero. Now I say, you know what, Logic, you did good. People have been writing letters. They've been telling me that they sick of these oranges, bro. But now on my side, you don't know. I done cut a deal for watermelon now. First, I had a good deal for oranges. First, I had a good deal for apples. But now that I got this good deal for watermelons, I'm going to do you a favor. You ain't got to eat oranges no more. Eat these watermelons. And what you telling me is that I'm championing your human rights and liberating you from oranges while now forcing you to eat watermelons. It ain't about being free, bro. It's about keeping you under control, however the fuck I can.
So, hey, Chef, are you still there?
So you don't need Chef for this.
No, I got to bring up I wanted to bring up a previous part of the conversation. That's why I'm asking if you were there. But I get you. I mean, I fall into, so now if that's what I'm demanding in order for me to like to say that I'm liberated or something, I like, now I feel like it's necessary to have an example of this. Like, maybe y'all didn't necessarily see that, but so now that you've given me this clear definition of these people are liberated once this happens, do I have an example of that
I've
anywhere?
been saying to y'all for the
There is
past 2
there's
days to
no
show me an example of true liberation.
there,
Listen, I've been asking y'all.
And
Y'all
we've
can't
been
show up.
asking for an example of people who did more, and y'all haven't done that either.
right, but liberation again is subjective.
That's
Right?
sad.
What one group might call liberation, I might call oppression. What I might call oppression, they might call liberation. It's
True.
subjective.
No,
True.
it's not.
Right.
It's not subjective,
So
Psycho.
in
No, it's
my
not
opinion,
subjective. Hold on, wait. Before we move on, it's not subjective.
it
You know what
no,
it
it
is,
is. He's
Psycho?
right.
No. Hold on. Let me finish. It's not subjective. Liberation. We've discussed this with Naeem Akbar. Slavery is normal when the dominant society and majority says it's normal. See, this is what I mean by your fucking forms of liberation. Liberation ain't subjective. Liberation is whatever the dominant structures, systems, and institutions say is liberation at the
I
time.
am
Do
giving
you
you
remember?
control
Hold on.
over the definition.
That
I'm
would make it
giving you
subjective, though.
control over the definition.
I
So
agree
No,
with
you
you're
you.
not.
give
That
me
No,
the
it ain't. No, it
definition
ain't.
and
It's up to them.
let's find a people group who fits it.
Yeah,
I'm
that would
giving
make
you
it
control of
subjective. Like you're
definitions.
correct.
Yes.
But it's
That's
still
why I
not.
gave
But it's
you
still.
control of it.
Listen.
So let's find a people group.
It's up to the winner. The winner is the person, apparently, in this particular scenario. Y'all are taking the winner's version of liberation and calling it liberation. But I've never heard
No, I'm asking you for yours, and I'll say let's
I'm saying true. I
find a
don't
people
think
group
it
that
exists.
fits it.
I don't think it exists.
I don't
Hold on.
now I agree with you. I don't think it exists, right?
Logic.
So if you
Hold
don't,
on.
if our ideal form of liberation doesn't exist, right? Then we got to look at where we coming from, right? We talking about that old world tyranny at that point, right?
You back
Where
in
you
Africa.
where they cut your arm off or cut your tongue out.
Right. And you back in Africa.
That's why I keep bringing that up,
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
those
yeah.
old
I
traditions
would
over
say,
there.
I would say, I would say.
I don't
the
know why you
small-
keep
I
trying
would
to go
say
back
the,
to
I
Africa.
would say the small hats was liberated in World War II.
Hey, you know what? Because Corey was making, I think that
That's a
was
good
Corey
example.
that was making a
That's a
good
good
point
example.
on
Your
liberation.
mic is low. Whoever know Mr. Nice Guy is, your microphone is very low.
Oh, that's me. That's Savio. My fault. Y'all hear
Okay.
me better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. That point on liberation. How are we? Because you didn't say it, but the only way that we know about this word liberation is from the oppressors, from the conqueror's viewpoint. How does a loser look at liberation? Are the people of Palestine being liberated?
Now, I think that you can make it more simple than that. I'm gonna give you full command. I'm gonna give you full authority over the definition of liberation. I don't have to use the oppressors.
Logic. Don't do that. Are the people of Palestine being liberated?
That's a good question.
I don't think so.
But the Jews think, but there's some people might think they're being liberated.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the point that
which would make it
Disciple was
subjective.
making. Yeah, I think that was the point Disciple
Right,
was making.
which is why I moved on and I said I will give you full authority over the definition, and let's map out what are the requirements for people to be liberated, and let's find them. Psycho gave a great example of the Jews after 1945. That's a great example. I totally get that as a good example.
Do you
Right, so
understand how disrespectful? Do you understand how disrespectful it is to say a people?
I didn't
need
use
to
the
be
example.
liberated? Do you just understand the dangers and how you talking? That's ridiculous. No, that's what you asking for. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, let them go ahead and do it though. Right? Let's
Chuck,
go ahead
I'm the
for it,
one.
right?
I'm the one who repeatedly says I find the word liberation problematic too. I keep saying that.
Yeah, because I'm with you, Logic.
I keep saying that.
I can't go with liberation. I can't do it. I can't do it no more, Chef.
I don't know. I don't know what word I would use to describe it. Right. I don't know. It's certainly not freeing the people. It's certainly, it doesn't accurately fit liberating the people. Certainly not better than the Jews in 1945.
Call it a chess move, because that's what it was.
Yeah, they do maintain control. There ain't no doubt about
that. Chess move. Chess move would be good. Yeah. I mean, I could still. I don't know. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I could still kind of not. You know what? I don't even want to say it. I'm still not totally out of the car with Chef, but yeah, I can't liberation. Nah, I can't do
it. Well, if I in another Baltimore drug deal, in another Baltimore drug deal analogy, right? Like if I get you hooked on drugs and then I supply you with the good shit, like I can't really call that liberating. I just created a codependency. You know what I'm saying? Now you might be naive enough to view it as that, but I get what you're saying. I totally get it, which is why I say I can see why the word is problematic. Tuck. I said that. So yeah, I don't. But maybe my argument might be further away from Chef than y'all want to admit. But I definitely see the word liberation is problematic.
Yeah, I can't do liberation no more. I can't do it, bro. I can't. Yeah. And I was about to speak to his piece on the champion human rights, but I don't even want to get. I might get in trouble going down that path too, Chef. I'm gonna let you. Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you.
Maybe I'm struggling to find a good word to describe it, but they definitely they went around the world in, I guess, a specific form of slavery or something that they actually did. That chess move, right? I would say that they played that card heavier than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was it absolutely
Yeah.
more for themselves than it was for other people? Absolutely. Like I'm not trying to approach it as naive. I'm attempting to find some objective middle ground where I'm just describing what happened, right? Like I'm not trying to necessarily like create a
They ended
narrative out of
slavery,
this
not out the
somewhere. I'm
kindness.
just trying
They
to
ended slavery, but not out the kindness of their own heart.
no,
And that's
absolutely not.
And when you
I'm looking for
when
that middle
you
ground too,
mention
Logic.
liberation,
the driver behind it is
when you
not
mention
no morality.
liberation, when you mention
Right.
liberation, intent matters. You're talking about liberation, right? And again, if you're getting something out of it, this, that, and the third, you are not liberating people.
You're not liberating. Right.
Yeah, if you're doing it for the sole purpose of getting something out of it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Hey,
Yeah.
Psycho, man,
Yeah.
while you're in here, I was going to email you, man, because I've been interested. I've been checking out those interview shows. At nighttime when I go to bed, man, when I wake up in the morning, a lot of times I'll be on there. At least I'll catch some of the stuff that y'all was talking about. But man, what you think about a TMI interview, bro? You put us in the hot seat and ask us some tough questions.
I was doing this for the debates and everything else. If somebody wanted to, some people want to join debates, they can. Got a tournament coming up, $500 prize to the winner. If anybody interested in joining, let me know. Email me.
I like having conversation. That debate shit, that's a lot.
I hope Haskell's in there. In y'all's little debate league. I don't mean little. My bad. In y'all's debate league, bro. I'm gonna have to. And Psycho, I've been fucking with the channel. I didn't know, but I'm having some health problems, so I haven't been tuning in lately. I didn't know you were doing a debate thing, but yeah, Haskell's a bad. Haskell's a bad motherfucker, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Whoever interested, email me. Let me know.
Yeah, sure.
We definitely can set up an interview though that y'all want to interview.
Yeah, I mean, it don't have to be. I mean, because I don't want to be in the debate thing, but I like the structure of it, and I actually want to answer some tough questions. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes it interesting and creates good dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Like
Go
especially
ahead and debate,
the one you
Logic.
did with Marley, man, that was cold. I ain't gonna lie, I really appreciated that because the diversity makes it good to me. You know what I'm saying? He don't sound like most other people with his answers, even where I disagree with him. The fact that it don't sound like just another iteration of the same thing, I like.
Yeah, I hate an echo chamber. I try to keep different people's opinions around and everything else. Keep people honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's that the challenge. The challenge is good. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, whenever a window pops up, man, so just give us at least like a week or so we can make some banners and be happy about it too. Yeah, let's do that.
Definitely.
This is
if y'all
this
mind me
where we
this
at with
look how fire this little space is, right? Like we got a couple people who more on the blackologist. I mean, and no disrespect, but like Pan African, like Mujasi would be like coming from that sort of ideology, right? He would be a lot different. I mean, a different way of kind of describing some of your sentiments, but he is like the diversity, right? Like he is absolutely not agreeing with us half of the time, but the conversation is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, but Josh is a breath of
Facts,
fresh
like
air a
big
lot of
facts.
times.
That's definitely one of my
Yeah,
favorite people in here, right? Like
yeah,
he's like leading, he's running our book club, which is definitely getting off. I'm super excited about it. We just got done reading some Naeem Akbar literature. I got to look at what we're doing this week. So yeah, it's been fun, but we actually do have that. We got respect for that. There's space for that. But yeah, let's I want to figure out how we can do that and share our views. I want to get the other guys on the panel to, I want to get all of that. You know what I'm saying? Nice little structured environment.
Oh, yeah, we can do something now. We get fans to do something like that.
Yeah. Who you a Redskin fan, huh?
Big time. Yeah.
I think I heard that, man.
I knew I liked you for a reason, Psycho, for
Oh
sure.
man, here y'all go,
Yeah,
man.
my
Cross
nigga,
country.
yes, kids,
To be a
yeah,
season.
and call them what the fuck they are, nigga, them the Redskins,
Oh
yeah,
hell yeah. I used to be a season ticket holder.
yeah. See, I do I fuck with Psycho for a reason, for
How y'all
sure.
running game looking this year?
Running back by committee.
Eckler just got hurt though, and the new boy, he young. They still gonna have. They still gonna be committee again.
Yeah.
The dude with the two last names, that's a young boy.
Yeah. You talk about Bill. We call him Bill. Everybody call him Bill. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bill, what his real name is? That niggas is funny, bro.
I just know him as Bill. Yeah, he got three names. One of his three names.
Yeah, he got a crazy ass name, right? Yeah, nigga call it Bill. Bro.
That's everybody on the team call him. Yeah, that's what everybody on the team call him.
Oh, okay, that's like his team nickname. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I was looking at. I'm trying not to overpay for him, and so now that I know he ain't getting touches like that, I might have to let him chill. You know what I'm saying? How you doing on your fantasy? I'm 0-2.
I'm 1-1.
I gotta get me one this week though. I'm out the race. I'm 0-3.
Hey, but Logic, before we kill the room talking about sports, the chef win again. Is that where we're at with it? Did he come away with another victory? Did he come away with another dub?
I'm gonna say yes or no. Right.
Okay.
Now he absolutely has pushed this conversation to the point where the ball is more in their court than it is in his, which he kind of hammered that home today, which would be a dub for him. And unfortunately, I don't think that we have an alternative answer to the question, right? Because we keep asking it and nobody say nothing. Like, who else did more? Right? Of course, we're gonna struggle with the word
If not Western
liberation.
society, who else?
If it wasn't Western, right? That's putting in black people because that's how it's worded. Western civilization, right? So you lumping in the black people in there. He didn't say white people. He said Western civilization. So he kind of right there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think technically he is 2-0.
Yeah, he's kind of 2-0. He's kind of 2-0, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
And I don't even want him to be 2-0.
Hey, Logic, I don't even agree with
I
him
didn't want him to be
anymore.
yesterday.
I don't even agree with them anymore. But that nigga 2-0, bro. That nigga the undead. Y'all can't kill Chef. I don't care what y'all say. That nigga, yeah, bro.
Yep. This nigga is so stupid, bro. I'm waiting on to talk about them dropping the water off the helicopter because I know how ignorant this little nigga is. Oh my God, bro. I know he ain't gonna be talking about the humanitarian effort. You know how ignorant this
He said he gonna bring up the red.
He will say it, bro.
He gonna bring up the red cross.
He better not talk. He better not. He better not bring out the Red Cross, bro. This nigga is ignorant, dog. This gonna have propaganda pictures up there. The woman with the little advocate. Come on, man. Nobody want to see that shit. Come on, man.
Them crates of water.
Don't do us like that, bro.
Them crates of water knocking niggas out on the ground and shit.
God damn, man. If I see a pot-belly African, I'm leaving Smalls. I'm gonna just let y'all have it. If this nigga posts a pot-belly African, I'm done with y'all niggas, bro.
with the fucking flies on the face.
Jeff is
With the
gonna kick me off
flies.
the
Oh
internet if that
shit.
nigga posts that shit. I'm
Oh
telling you.
man, you know that's where
Hey, but
he's going, bro. It's not even
for
funny, but
real,
that's where he's going.
but for
Like, it's not even
real, though,
funny.
this nigga got a little Chief X in him with this one, bro. I've been
Yeah.
trying my best to be like, okay, I understand what he's saying. And look, you even heard me yesterday, Smalls. I don't know if you was in there, but you probably was. I was like, yo, Chef, they're not listening. But if we turn that screw, it's gonna be harder for them to hear it, bro. Did you remember me saying that?
Yeah, I remember you saying it. Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and look, and so he done did his thing today,
And
right?
yeah.
This, anything other than this will really be turning the screw a little bit, right? You see
That's right.
niggas be touchy about some shit like this. We already talked about slavery and white people, and you know what I'm saying, giving them credit for anything. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard, bro. You know what I'm saying? You asking niggas to do a lot. You know what I'm saying? But nothing.
Bruh, like I'm telling you, bro, like this was a good one, bro. He had nigga that took my eye and worked mad to the motherfucker,
Hey,
build the cat, build the
it's a
cat
good
is
one,
about to cut his arm off. Like
but
this shit
Chef
was
is
funny.
2-0, bro.
Chef is he's 2-0. He's a devil, bro. He's a
Buddy
devil.
2-0.
got concrete Corey on the team too now. Like that's like I don't know how the fuck that happened.
Honestly, I wasn't on the team. My thing is, I was just in the audience, right? So I'm an audience member, I guess.
Right.
And I'm looking at the fight or the argument, and I got my jersey. You know, my jersey is with y'all, right? I'm in the boat with Logic or not Logic, but
Raz, yeah.
Brad
Yep.
and
I
Psycho
got the
and
jersey
Jumpy
on
and
too.
all
I
these guys.
feel the same way, bro.
I got a
Yep.
Psycho Patriots jersey on, but I'm in the audience looking at my team lose stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I feel you. I feel you.
Listen,
Hey,
I'm
Corey.
just gonna say right now, my self-esteem is not any. It's one notch higher. I will say it's one notch higher, and that's thanks to Cuban crisis. Cuban crisis is the only one that got my self-esteem.
See, y'all can't. See, we can't let Chef say shit like the French was gonna bust the Haitian's head, right? We can't say that, and then let the nigga win. You know what I'm saying? Now he dancing in the end zone, bro. We got to get this nigga.
Hey Corey, let me say something to you. No, hey Corey, while you talk about what jersey you got on, I'm gonna tell you,
shit.
this is the owner of the team. We no longer want y'all niggas' services, so we've traded you, Logic, Fatty, and Tony to the other team. So that way, it's no confusion,
crazy,
and I give you
bro.
clarity on what team y'all niggas playing for.
You're giving me a refund on my season ticket, then.
Hey, Brad just spoke for the Negro delegation. Brad just spoke for the Negro delegation, and he done traded y'all 3 niggas. That's funny to the motherfucker, yo. Yeah, bro. There you go, man. This has been a good one though. And the funny part is the funny part is when Chef turns this motherfucker up, he keeps lighting the match, throwing the gas on the goddamn fire, and then walking out the goddamn room. Chef ain't even in this motherfucker no more. Like he did that so many times yesterday. Got
Niggas say
niggas
I'm back.
arguing. You
Bro,
know,
one
got
thing.
niggas about to, cussing each other out, about to. This nigga done left out to go fuck up to go give a Jewish taper. That shit.
The fact of the matter is, Cuban. The reason why I'm saying that Cuban got a point off in there is because it was his original. Like he came up with it. It's his original thought, right? But it's one of my talking points, right? One of my talking points is that African Americans showed the whole world how to behave, right? But when you put it in the way that Cuban put it, he says that African American is a part of Western civilization.
Yeah.
So again, that entails shepherding, winning the argument again.
Right.
But
That's my
it brings
point.
up my self-esteem a notch. It got my self-esteem up a notch from
No,
that
no, no.
point. Go
Wait a
ahead.
second. But when you say Western civilization, is by default because they were kidnapped and brought here. So it wasn't because they wanted to be here. It wasn't because they fucking wrote a letter for a visa or a green card.
But
You
you
know,
would
like
still have to consider it Western civilization at that point, though. At that
no.
point they were
So y'all
fighting.
get hung up on the
I
why,
would say
the why, and
I would
and
say
all of
it's
that.
I would me
My bad,
personally.
Cuban. Go ahead.
This is just how I would word it personally. Like I would say instead of African American, I would say Africans in America or Africans
Okay.
in the Western Hemisphere.
Okay.
Because I mean, this might be another word because I know environmental colonization and colonialism fucking gave you guys conniptions. Linguistic imperialism. That's another factor. Linguistic imperialism is when a person, the one that is imperializes a group of people and subjects them to their language, subjects them to what they want to call them. So there was no West Central Africans brought here, kidnapped, that were calling themselves Americans. This is a term that comes later. But why did it come later? So when we talk about liberation, liberation is more than just physical bondage. Liberation is mentally, spiritually, the things you succumb to socially, the languages, the names, the customs, everything that's imposed upon you, forced upon you, and things that people assimilate and adapt and synchronize, these things to survive. But that's the key point. It's for survival. So it's not because they wanted to, they did to survive. So there's a lot with the fucking subject. It's a very complex subject. So the only thing I can say is that the they Africans, can nobody outdo what they did for their own people. Your ancestors, what they did. There's nobody else to look to. Greatness came from your people. That I
How dare you say
I
that, Cuban?
wouldn't be what the fuck I'm into and everything like that
So
if it
African
wasn't
American.
if it wasn't for black revolutionaries in this country, if it wasn't for movements, if it wasn't for a Panther Party, if it wasn't for whatever, I wasn't inspired. I wasn't inspired at 12 years old by Che Guevara. Che Guevara came later, learning about Che. I was inspired by learning about somebody like Elijah Muhammad. Learn what's the nation of Islam? What's this about? What's that about? And those things open doors to other things, to finding out things that, interestingly enough, I felt a connection with because of things socially, things that was done unjustly, predicaments. You speak English. People I come from was forced to speak Spanish. Your last name is Thompson. This last person's name is Jimenez. It's a slave name. You're a Protestant, you're a Baptist, a First Baptist, Second Baptist, AME. This person is Catholic, Roman Catholic, slave religion. So these.
So is there an
things,
example? Is there an example in the world of liberation at all?
No.
No.
Y'all can say
Because
it's you. I don't know who that is, but I'll say no.
No, I don't think
we ain't never seen liberation before.
No,
We wouldn't even know
not
what the
that.
hell
No.
liberation
We've
looks
never
like.
seen. No, we've never seen. We've seen liberation. Liberation from your oppressor. When they telling you what liberation is, if you had me under slavery and you telling me my liberation is Reconstruction, then we haven't seen it. If you telling me that my liberation is the slave codes and Jim Crow, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. If you telling me, if France is saying we're liberating you from slavery, but then also charge you 150 million francs at basically with cannons in front of me, then no, we have not seen it. We've seen the version of liberation that they like to say, but I don't think the liberation of the dictionary even fits what the hell they talking about. And Corey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They will say on one hand that think that it is admirable. Look what America has done with all these black women that are so educated, and we got them out into the workforce and this, that, and the other. And then the whole fucking time they're the largest ones that's getting their wages stole from them. That ain't no fucking liberation. That's why my argument is that there isn't no liberation. That when you say when Martin Luther King got the civil rights, everybody brings up Martin Luther King. There's a reason why he immediately realized in his zeal for the civil rights, he forgot the economic part. That still ain't he realized that we still wasn't liberated. There is no situation specifically for African Americans who I'm talking about right now. There's never been, y'all can say small hats and all of that, and I can study it. But I want you to show me a time when they didn't. Hey, Corey, they told us we abolished segregation, but you niggas can only live in these communities. You could fight for us. Yeah, of course you can fight in the military. And then the GI Bill don't apply to us when we get fucking home. See, it's never a situation where you actually liberated. Not in the truest sense of the word. It's just liberation in their sense of the word. And that's the only liberation that they know. They don't know any other liberation because you know what they can't relinquish in their liberation? Liberation's definition shouldn't depend on the control. They never relinquish the control. Ever.
Yeah.
But you know, who am I? I'm just a fucking, you know,
Right.
the owner of the
Which
team. Here come
well,
Africa,
which
whatever
took
you
me
about to
back,
talk about.
which would took me back to the other conversation we had about the Katrina explosion, right? Because in that Katrina explosion, it made me think about, well, then if it's always going to be about that, then voting becomes somewhat of an illusion too.
But you keep talking about people. See, the difference in the Katrina conversation is you keep talking about people. There were failures in structures and systems in Katrina, but specifically within Katrina, there was a failure of people, the governor, the mayor, the sheriff. Then there was a person who went in and regulated a situation. That's an event. I'm not talking about a time period. That was an event. I don't like to confuse a time period with an event conversation. And then when you're talking about that, just understand that we're talking about structures and systems versus people. I don't want to talk about people and events. We're talking about whole swaths of people, not black people in New Orleans, black people, period. So when you do that and you start talking about, well, Katrina, have the whole conversation with Katrina. If the motherfucker, let's say that those levees, let's say if those levees were exploded, the conspiracy theory was true, right? That the explosion everybody heard was an actual explosion of some levees. Well, in that explosion of them levees, if it was, say it did come out that a Western civilization, a person from the Western civilization said that I exploded these levees because I was trying to do whatever. But here go X amount of dollars to liberate these people. I'm gonna pay for you to live somewhere else. If the overarching goal is for them people to take over that land and not have nothing to do with New Orleans no more and get these broke people into San Antonio, Houston, and all these other places permanently and displace a minority, that's the kind of liberation that the reason why these conspiracy theories make sense, Logic, is because people are used to the kind of liberation that Western civilization calls it. Because that makes sense to them. That's the mistrust. It's like, so why are you helping me? What do you gain from this? What are you trying to get from this? So no, the liberation that y'all talk, the true liberation, that's why y'all keep saying, well, we ain't never been free. What you talking about free is true liberation. And I'm telling you, it don't exist. It don't exist. You're looking for something that don't exist. That's why you got to describe it as a Santa Claus liberation. Some nigga flying around in a sleigh, sprinkling the shit. That's how unrealistic it is. Y'all don't even believe the shit that y'all saying. Y'all know that this shit don't happen that way. That's same as believing in Santa Claus. It ain't real.
Romanticism.
And that's why y'all 10-day contracts have been, we don't want y'all on this team no more. Go start your own fucking team. We don't want y'all on our team. I don't want the concrete nigga. I don't want the barber. I don't want the nigga that working in Army bank vaults. I don't want y'all niggas. Y'all can go somewhere else. I don't want y'all, bro. I can't be in here constantly like explaining to you, because then if the conversation goes, Corey, back to, well, we ain't never been free, then I gotta believe you don't want to understand me, bro. Because we got to start with a baseline of some kind of intelligence, and I know y'all intelligent. So when you start making arguments like that, you're actually trying to fuck up the conversation, not have one. We know we know we're free, whatever they called it. We know that. We know that shit. We know that shit right now. Logic. Let one of your friends, since you so free, let one of your friends leave some drug paraphernalia in your car and the police pull you over. Let's start talking about freedom then. You probably need to go to prison to see when I keep saying that this shit is like slavery, bro. You probably gonna have to go ahead and go to prison for me to prove that point. But go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, because I kept like a broken record saying Angola yesterday, right? And then fucking DQ bought up some shit in Texas where like they don't even pay niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Now you're
these
saying
niggas
I'm
in
making
Angola
my
get
point out of
paid.
just being naive. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. You kind of like got, I don't know what you think. You like, it's like you concentrated so hard on what I'm saying, on what I'm saying being similar to what Chef is saying.
Oh yeah. Hey, is it okay if I unmute Fetty? Like Fetty wants to come off mute. Is that cool, Brass? I just want to make sure.
You can liberate Fetty.
Liberate.
I ain't even know the nigga was on mute.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I don't think I was the one that muted him, but yeah, you can liberate that nigga. As soon as you liberate him, I'm gonna mute him again. I'm Western civilization around this motherfucker. Y'all don't gotta ask me for permission to talk, bro.
What's happening?
I don't know. Fetty was on mute.
Well,
I guess everybody thought I did it.
he left anyway, so whatever. If he comes back, I'll unmute him.
Yeah. I didn't mute the nigga in the first place. But Logic was saying something. That's the only reason. I'm doing some shit over on my computer. But what you saying, Logic? I think you naive, or Smalls think you naive.
You saying that I gotta go to jail just to know that oppression is still happening in America?
No,
and I've
that ain't
even
what I
tried to
said.
like simplify. I mean, that's what you implying.
No, it's not what I implied.
I would have to go to jail to. I would have to go to jail to be able to establish that it's like slavery.
No, you'd have to be somebody like you, an upstanding citizen, would have to probably go to jail in Texas. Let's say specifically Texas, and get 30 years for something maybe you didn't do, or go to jail with a white person.
You mean county?
And then finish, and then y'all both committed the same crime, and then watch this motherfucker get out in 5 years for some shit you did. You doing 30 while on a chain
or
gang,
40,
working for free. And when you leave, you probably won't hit you that this was slavery until you leave after them 30 years, and they hand you a check for $220.
Hey, Brown, you mean county?
I'm not being naive to when
you
you're
using the
making the
words naive. I ain't
comparison.
doing that. I said you was intelligent.
I mean, what you're describing would be kind of me being naive.
No, it's not.
To where
If
like
I was
I can't.
you not Logic, do me a favor.
Okay.
If I was calling you naive, bro, I'd call you naive. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, like for example, I'll flip the shit back onto me. I'd probably, for everything that we talk about when it comes to Africa, if I had never been to Africa, right? Like if I had never been to Ghana, I would probably have some thoughts that I would have to live in Ghana for a year in order to be able to say the shit that I'm saying about Ghana. But the fact that I had already been, I can say what's true and what ain't true, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a specific thing to you. I don't know what it's like. Here's the funny thing. We're having conversations about Haiti and France in the 1800s. I think we all would have to literally go there on both sides of the argument in order to prove these arguments technically, because we don't know what the fuck is going on.
I got you. So what I'm saying is I have no problem like having a position that I'm having, and also agreeing that the prison industrial system and all the over policing is like slavery. I don't have no problem but I wouldn't me specifically for what I'm saying. I'm putting all of that under the umbrella of oppression. Like I remember I'm the zoom out person. I'm being like ideologically consistent.
Right. But the challenge logic that I would have then, and my question to you would be, you're using the words oppression and then you're sometimes using the word slavery, but I think when I use slavery and mass incarceration, I just look at I don't think you look at slavery as I don't think you look at mass incarceration as rebranded slavery. That's where we probably differ. That's probably where we may differ. I don't look at it as just.
I don't have no problem. I don't have no problem embracing that. Like that's
no. You said
I'm not even too. I'm right. I mean, I'm saying I would fall under a larger theme for me. Right.
Okay.
For me, I would still put it under a larger theme. Right. Okay. To be more specific about it, I don't have any problem with it falling under the label of slavery.
Okay.
Right?
Then cool.
So
then we got to understand in there.
Yeah, liberate the trees. Last thing I heard was liberate the trees.
Become Chef right on time. Fuck up the conversation. Go ahead, Chef. You got it. I thought it was wild as hell until I realized it made no sense to me. It made no sense to me until you said the koalas. Then I understood.
And and the fact that it made sense to y'all is exactly why I ain't making sense to y'all. Koalas and trees, and y'all don't get what I'm saying.
No, I don't get it.
Y'all playing. You
know? I think gorillas and trees.
Y'all always be talking shit, hating on me, yo. The koala bear analogy.
Come on, don't do it, bro.
No,
they're not trying to accept it. Just
I
understand what you're saying.
I'll never understand.
I fully understand what you're saying. Don't try to get Chef to understand. That's the problem, really.
Chef is
trying to get Chef to understand some shit. You should never wake up with the goal of trying to make Chef understand.
I think Chef is trolling. I think there's a lot of shit that Chef trolls about. Like I really think that he's chilling and he writes shit down. He writes shit down to like fuck with people. Like I honestly think Chef is trolling saying he's FBA. Like I don't believe that.
No, he likes to make points. If you don't know, y'all know Chef longer than me. Chef likes to make points to see if you can defend it. And he revels in the fact that if you can't defend this fucking argument, he won. He's a sick nigga, bro. Stop thinking about Chef as though he's some kind of like he's sick. He's insane. That's why I'm participating with this somewhat and leaving just to retain my own sanity. Because I know he's enjoying this whole shit. This whole shit is hilarious.
Disappeared, bro.
Argument. So he can't understand for the life of him that when he first said it, he didn't receive enough pushback, and he said, "You know what? I'm about to fuck up the whole week in the Discord." And he is enjoying. Look, y'all don't realize this nigga is enjoying every single minute of this. Watching us scrambling, trying to prove that white people and what. That's why he went to white people. Y'all just ain't catch the shit. Yesterday, every time I said white yesterday, Chef told me, I ain't talking about white people. This nigga woke up this morning and said, y'all got to talk about white people. That's how sick he is. You got to have a good memory, bro.
Let me get the bourbon chicken over low man.
And this whole time,
overloaded magnum.
Low man. Low man.
He's ordering food, bro.
Yeah, this nigga orders Chinese food.
Y'all
Orders
niggas
goddamn.
Y'all pulling y'all hair out trying to defend this shit and go
Put,
against
put
it.
some more sauce on
This
that.
nigga thinking about lo mein and lemon pepper. I'm not fucking with Chef.
That nigga ain't FBA. Go to soul food restaurant, Chef. What the fuck you doing?
Man, he don't care about niggas. Like,
Yo,
you
go get some
cornering on that,
goddamn.
bro. If you he'll be FBA until them niggas say, "Hey, we need you to pay a payment." Well, guess I ain't FBA no more. What's the next group? What's the next group I could join? He's sick.
You don't like eat lunch yet?
I'm eating lunch right now. Look, I'm making lunch this whole time. The whole time you've been talking, I've been making lunch. That's why I've been leaving. I ain't listening to y'all no more.
You ain't know that? You ain't
Hey, look, hey, DQ. You know the funny shit? I done heard Chef when he's arguing with Fetty go the exact opposite direction. And then now when Fetty say you cooking, he on the same team. Hilarious.
We cooking you, nigga.
Chef, you gotta understand, Chef is gonna go with the winning squad. If not, he's gonna be a contrarian. If not, he's gonna be willfully obtuse. It's like you gotta choose out of the three with this nigga. So yeah.
And that's why I keep pointing out. But the only way the only way Chef is able to get away with that, when he leaves, reasoning and good common sense is supposed to reign. But when he leaves, now we gotta fight everybody else. It's like, oh well, you kind of got a point, you know. I don't really know, but I mean, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. I mean, any argument, that's the video. I'm not talking about you right now, Logic. I know that might have seemed like a veiled comment.
You and Logic need to be at the focal point of the cul-de-sac and go ahead and get this out the way.
Yeah, because I think every time I see Logic,
let me get a regular Cinnabon.
Look, this nigga's ordering Cinnabon.
Nigga still ordering
food. Crazy. But no, my point with that Logic, to be specific, is any argument, and you know this, any argument, that's the whole point of discourse. That's why you got to have a Supreme Court. Any argument from you got to have court and judges and trials. Any argument from any side, no matter how asinine, with free speech can be argued. You can make a good case for any fucking thing. It don't mean that it's right, wrong, or otherwise. That's why I'm not telling y'all stupid. I'm just telling you y'all missing something. That when you're talking about the liberation and when you're talking about the human rights, that my argument can only be that there's never been any true liberation. Because if I accept the fact that what they're doing is liberation, then y'all argument is right on its face. So anybody that's arguing with me, quote unquote, on my side or whatever side, if you believe that what they was doing was liberation in the first place, then you got to be quiet and tell Chef and Logic that they told Chef Logic and them that they're right. I'm saying that what they giving to these people ain't liberation in the first place. And I'm gonna die. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. You can't kick me in the stomach and then stop and then start kicking me in the knee and you freed my stomach. What about my knee?
Well, I'm trying to find a way in there to describe the difference between motherfuckers getting buried with the king. I'm not really trying to go that far back, but I'm trying to like emphasize old traditional ways where people literally had like your rights wasn't even a theme yet, right? Like people hadn't even started discussing democracy at all, right? Like how is accurately describing that being no difference from that to now. Like there's got to be another way to describe it. Like if I can agree with you that liberation is problematic, then we ain't really done that for real. Like we've been talking about liberation being problematic, and I'm saying something I definitely feel like is a better part of the at least my part of things.
Would you agree that, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example, right? This is what true liberation would look like to me. True liberation, when they did the 13th Amendment, you know what it would look like? True liberation would look like all people, all men are created equal. And stop. That would be the liberation. The caveat is the self-interest. So if you're saying the morals is all men are created equal and you're abolishing slavery, that would be morally right. But if before you finish the sentence and we start celebrating, one of the black, because I mean, I picture things in my mind to make it make sense. When they did the 13th Amendment, I'm sure that motherfuckers was sitting somewhere reading it or whatever, and they started screaming, "Look what these motherfuckers did! Yeah!" It was 1,000 motherfuckers screaming, and then one motherfucker who kept reading, and that shit said, "Unless you get locked up," said, "Hey man, what the fuck is this?" And then the next day they dropped the slave codes. Hey man, you can get locked up for crossing the fucking train tracks? The fuck is this? And then they said, hey, you got sharecropping. Hey man, but what's this quota thing they keep talking about? See, like it's never morals is not like you can have good morals if you say you was getting beat up by your girlfriend every time you walked in the door.
Oh shit.
Right?
Hilarious.
Let's just say some little a woman was beating the shit out of you every time you open the door.
God damn, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going.
And then on Monday she beat the shit out.
Hey, don't condone that nigga. No, don't encourage that shit.
And then the next morning, hey Mel, and then the next morning, instead of hitting your ass 10 times, she liberated you with just 8 punches.
I ain't heard that shit. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm not talking about nobody in particular. You know what I mean? So what
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, if you liberating me, like you can't, you gotta, morals would be
funny as shit out here.
Like if she just stopped kicking your ass, then that would be morally, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're talking about, Brass. You're speaking a foreign language right now.
No, I'm
I got you. I got you. Motherfuckers, humans done went to the moon, and we ain't figured that out yet. So I'm agreeing with you, right? And then I'm putting the ball back in your court and saying, where's the closest that we've come to it?
I just want to say, Brass, you're a horrible person.